Hello, everyone, and welcome to Regina and Friends Crime Chat. I'm your host, Regina, and with us today we have one of our co-hosts, Crystal, aka What Is True. Crystal, how you doing today?
I am well, thank you. Nice to see you. Nice to see everyone.
Nice to see you too. Good to see you, everyone. I'm glad you all made it. Yeah, we got Yankee Kyle in here and Low 12 and a couple of other people, and it's good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. We have some breaking news out of Kissimmee, Florida today. Um, and in the Madeline Soto case. And for those of you who don't know, Stephan Sterns has just been charged with first degree murder of Madeline Soto. Now, this could mean a couple of things. Um, we're going to give it another second or two and let a couple more people get in here. But this could mean a couple of things. And a little bit of revelation is going to come in the press conference that we're about to show. And there's going to be a little bit more revelation in the actual laws in Florida. Um, I noticed a lot of people during the press conference stream were still asking questions about Jennifer Soto, and we still have questions too, and we're fixing to get to that. So I guess with all that said, let's get straight into the press conference here. See.
I'm sharing this on Twitter, so if I drop off, I'll be right back. I'm not leaving, but I'm gonna try to do both. So
Okay, that's fine. This was a impromptu live, so um do what you gotta do, sis. And here's
All right, good
the
afternoon,
press
everyone.
conference.
Thank you for
And you
coming.
guys, I know the volume's
Today,
low,
the Kissimmee
and I
Police
apologize.
Department
There's
and
nothing I can do
myself
about that. It's on their
are
end.
here to provide an update on the death investigation on 13-year-old Madeline Soto, who was reported missing back on February 26th of this year and discovered dead 4 days later. I know the community and the media have been anxious for us to give an update on this case, and this is an opportunity for us to do that. For the last 7 weeks, 7.5 weeks actually, the Kissimmee Police Department and my office have been working closely to go over every piece of evidence that we could gather in this case. It was a voluminous and a lot of evidence to get through during that time, but we were successful in getting through it and making sure that we were able to provide the best case we could. Today, we're announcing that Stephan Sterns has been indicted by the grand jury on first degree murder for the killing of Madeline Soto. Uh, we presented the case to the grand jury. They returned an indictment earlier today. Um, there has been some questions as related to the length of investigation. I just want to let you know again that my office and the Kissimmee Police Department have been working vigilantly in making sure that we had every opportunity to get every piece of evidence that we could. I want to thank the Kissimmee Police Department and their tireless efforts. They've done an amazing job in the heavy lift that we've asked them to do, as well as the prosecutors that have been assigned to this case and making sure that we got every piece of evidence reviewed and gathered in this case. While death investigations usually take around 5 to 6 weeks or longer, we were able to get this one done relatively quickly and get the case to the front of the grand jury, like I said earlier today, to return the indictment against Mr. Stephan Sterns. The death penalty in this case, we have not decided to like what decision we're going to make in that case. We're going to continue those discussions going forward, and we'll let you know again when we make that decision as to whether we're going to seek the death penalty in this case. I want to thank the grand jury for their hard work and their efforts in making sure that we're making this first step in seeking justice for Madeline Soto, for her family, and so this the community can have closure in this case. The defendant will appear at initial appearances, I believe probably the next day or two. Then the case will proceed down its normal path, and we'll try to keep you abreast of how the case is moving, as well as you probably ask us questions to make sure that we are providing that proper information to keep you abreast of how the case is going down the normal path of the criminal justice system. I'd like now to introduce um, Chief of Police Betty Holland, and for her to provide comment.
Thank you, State Attorney Mr. Bain. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank the investigators and the other agencies that assisted us in uncovering the evidence to move forward with this case. We know this case has gained significant public attention because Madeline had just celebrated her 13th birthday and was just a child. The evidence shows an individual that was entrusted to keep Madeline safe made calculated moves to dispose Madeline's belongings and place her body in a wooded area before she was ever reported missing. For the 4 days following her disappearance, the entire community was actively looking to find Madeline safe and alive. Tragically, on March 1st, Madeline's remains were found. Our detectives have worked tirelessly to piece together the events leading up to Madeline's disappearance and death. With the collaboration of the state's attorney's office, we prepared the case for the grand jury that was heard today. The grand jury determined that our department secured enough evidence to obtain a first-degree murder indictment. We appreciate each grand jury member for their careful consideration. We want to thank the diligent work of the state's attorney's office, the medical examiner's office, and our other law enforcement partners who assist with the investigation. Your expertise and dedication were instrumental in uncovering the truth. The indictment signifies a crucial step forward in our quest for justice and a testament to our commitment to honoring Madeline's memory. We will now take questions. Right, I'm going to defer to the state's attorney.
Good afternoon. Although an indictment has been returned this afternoon, it is still an open and ongoing criminal investigation. So much of this information cannot be disclosed until Mr. Sterns' attorney, if he does so, elects to participate in discovery, and then all of you in the media know how to go about seeking information through public records.
Not that we've uncovered. State attorney?
Again, all questions about the facts of the case are not subject to disclosure because of public records laws at this time. Once his attorney participates in discovery, then you can make public records requests through your normal channels as you do in other cases. At this time, the only person being charged is Stephan Sterns. And again, this is not over. There is an ongoing investigation to uncover more evidence, and therefore we can't comment. There's going to be the same response on any question about the facts of the case. Through the facts of the case.
So, with any death case that is reviewed by my office, when it's determined to be a homicide, we have to look at the statutory aggravating factors that are laid out in our Florida law. Once we've determined that we have sufficient evidence to prove those factors to the proper evidentiary standard, then we had to have to talk about whether this is a death penalty case. And that's a discussion that we're still going to be having for the next couple of weeks to make sure that we're making a legal decision that's appropriate in this case. I'll leave that for Mr. Will.
Cannot comment on whether Mr. Sterns has been doing anything. He has counsel. And as far as plea offers, no, there are no plea offers made on the open case. You can address that question with the indictment that should be on the clerk's website if it's not already.
I'm going to have to defer to the state's attorney.
Again, any question about the facts of the case, it's going to be the same answer. Once his attorney participates in discovery, the public records laws change, and you all will be able to get a lot of that information. As far as the 60 counts that are already filed against Mr. Stearns, that is solely involving Mr. Stearns as a defendant. Not to those 60 charges.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. It's the family working with the investigation. It's the family working with the investigation.
It's an ongoing investigation. Can't comment on who's working with us.
Um, Queen Vossian, I apologize for the sound quality. This is not on my end. This is at the actual press conference. Um, Sadly, I can't turn their volume up any louder than it is. I apologize for that.
Okay. This will be the last question. I'll let you get that in. What was it?
It's facts of the case. Can't comment on it.
So thank you all so much for coming out today. If you need this gentleman's name, it is Will J, Willjay. He is our homicide unit chief for the state attorney's office for the 9th Judicial Circuit. Thank you all so much for coming out today.
All right, good afternoon.
So there you have it. Stephan Sterns has been charged with first degree homicide in the death of Madeline Soto. Can you hear me, Crystal? Hello? What the heck? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. You can hear me? There we go. There's Crystal. Can you hear me? Am I having sound issues? Yeah, I've got the video muted. Um, so here's the deal. They have charged Stephan Sterns with capital first degree um felony homicide, murder in the state of Florida. But here's the catch. As y'all noticed in that video, they're not commenting because this is an ongoing investigation. If anyone else, if there are any more charges or anything like that covering coming. Well, let's go over this real quick. Crystal, okay. I still can't hear you, Crystal. I don't know if can y'all put a one in the chat if y'all can hear me? Okay, I can see my sound. So here's the thing though. In the state of Florida, you don't have to actually commit the murder to be charged with first degree murder. They just have to prove that you were an accessory after the fact. And we're fixing to go over Florida statutes to cover that. So we have Penal Code 777.03, accessory after the fact. Any person not standing in the relation of husband or wife, parent or guardian, child or grandchild, brother or sister by consanguinity, I hope I pronounced that right, or affinity to the offender who maintains or assists the principal or an accessory before the fact or gives the offender any other aid knowing that the offender had committed a crime and such crime was a third degree felony or had an accessory thereto before the fact with the intent that the offender avoids or escapes detention, arrest, trial, or punishment as an accessory after the fact. Any person who maintains or assists the principal or accessory before the fact or gives the offender any other aid knowing that the offender had committed the offense of child abuse, neglect of a child. Hold on, let me get. Oh, Crystal. She's gone again. Um, neglect of a child, aggravated child abuse, aggravated manslaughter of a child under 18 years of age, or murder of a child. Where was I? Or murder of a child under 18 years of age, or had an accessory thereto before the act with the intent that the offender avoids or escapes detention or detection, arrest, trial, or punishment, is an accessory after the fact unless the court finds that the person is a victim of domestic violence. Any person who maintains or assists the principal or an accessory before the fact or gives the offender any other aid knowing that the offender had committed a crime, and such crime was a capital life, first degree, or second degree felony, or had been an accessory thereto before the act with the intent that the offender avoids or escapes detection, arrest, trial, or punishment, is an accessory after the fact. If the felony offense committed is a capital felony, the offense of accessory after the fact is a felony of first degree, punishable as provided. If the felony offense committed is a life felony or a felony of the first degree, the offense of accessory after the fact is a felony of the second degree, punishable as provided. If the felony offense is a felony of the second degree or a felony of the third degree, okay, y'all see what I'm saying? What this law is stating is that if you are an accessory to the murder in the first degree, you get charged with the first degree felony, the same felony as the other person. Whenever you're an accessory in Florida, what this is stating, if you commit a third degree felony, you're charged with a third degree felony. If you commit the first degree felony, you're charged. I mean, if you're an accessory to the first degree felony, you're charged with the first degree felony. And not only are you uh, subjective to that charge and being prosecuted for that, but you're also subject to the exact same punishment as the person that actually committed the murder. So they have charged Stephan Sterns with first degree homicide. But what they haven't done is said he was the only person that acted in this case. And if you listened in the press conference just a few minutes ago, um, they said that this was an ongoing investigation, but they used the fact that he had her in the car with him while she was deceased and he disposed of her body. So this is why Stephan Sterns has been charged with first degree felony murder because he um, was an accessory to it, accessory after the fact, a first degree capital murder. Um, that's why it says here in section 2A, if the felony offense committed is a capital felony, the offense of accessory after the fact is a felony of the first degree, provided as. Literally what it's saying here is you're going to be charged with the first degree crime. It's not saying you're going to get charged with an accessory and it be a lesser crime. What this law is stating is that you are culpable and liable to be held accountable for the first degree offense that was committed. Okay, let's see if we got Crystal back yet. Crystal, are you there? You're fine, Queen. If you need to use caps, that's fine. I understand. Um, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm so glad to have everyone here. I appreciate you all joining us. Um, again, for those of you who are just coming in who may not know yet, Stephan Sterns has officially been charged with first degree murder in the case of Madeline Soto um, and her homicide. And what we're going over now are the Florida statutes. And the reason I think this is very important is because it is true that Stephan Sterns just got charged with first degree murder in the homicide of Madeline Soto. But does that mean he is the one that ended her life? In the press conference, and we can play that again for those of you who want to hear it again. As a matter of fact, I think that's a good idea. We're going to listen to that one more time because in the press conference they said, and everyone's asking, where's Jennifer Soto? Where's Jennifer Soto? Well, we don't know where Jennifer Soto is. And we don't know if she's still to be charged for her daughter's death, Madeline Soto. But what we do know is that Stephan Sterns just got charged with first degree homicide. So I want to pull this up again now after reading the laws, and explaining it to you. We're going to do the press conference one more time.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. Today, the Kissimmee Police Chief and myself are here to provide an update on the death investigation on 13-year-old Madeline Soto, who was reported missing back on February 26th of this year and discovered dead 4 days later. I know the community and the media have been anxious for us to give an update on this case, and this is an opportunity for us to do that. For the last 7 weeks, 7.5 weeks actually, the Kissimmee Police Department and my office have been working closely to go over every piece of evidence that we could gather in this case. It was a voluminous and a lot of evidence to get through during that time, but we were successful in getting through it and making sure that we were able to provide the best case we could. Today, we're announcing that Stephan Sterns has been indicted by the grand jury on first-degree murder for the killing of Madeline Soto. We presented the case to the grand jury. They returned an indictment earlier today. There has been some questions as related to the length of investigation. I just want to let you know again that my office and the Kissimmee Police Department have been working vigilantly in making sure that we had every opportunity to get every piece of evidence that we could. I want to thank the Kissimmee Police Department and their tireless efforts. They've done an amazing job in the heavy lift that we've asked them to do, as well as the prosecutors that have been assigned to this case and making sure that we got every piece
Absolutely,
of evidence
Queen.
reviewed and
Absolutely.
gathered in this case. While death investigations usually take around 5 to 6 weeks or longer, we were able to get this one done relatively quickly and get the case to the front of the grand jury, like I said earlier today, to return the indictment against Mr. Stephan Sterns. The death penalty in this case, we have not decided to what decision we're going to make in that case. We're going to continue those discussions going forward, and we'll let you know again when we make that decision as to whether we're going to seek the death penalty in this case. I want to thank the grand jury for their hard work and their efforts in making sure that we're making this first step in seeking justice for Madeline Soto, for her family, and so this the community can have closure in this case. The defendant will appear at initial appearances, I believe probably the next day or two. Then the case will proceed down its normal path, and we'll try to keep you abreast of how the case is moving, as well as you probably ask us questions to make sure that we are providing that proper information to keep you abreast of how the case is going down
You there,
in the
Crystal?
normal path of the criminal justice system. I'd like now to introduce Chief of Police Betty Holland and for her to provide comment.
Thank you, State Attorney Mr. Bain. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank the investigators and the other agencies that assisted us in uncovering the evidence to move forward with this case. We know this case has gained significant public attention because Madeline had just celebrated her 13th birthday and was just a child. The evidence shows an individual that was entrusted to keep Madeline safe made calculated moves to dispose Madeline's belongings and place her body in a wooded area before she was ever reported missing. For the 4 days following her disappearance, the entire community was actively looking to find Madeline safe and alive. Tragically, on March 1st, Madeline's remains were found. Our detectives have worked tirelessly to piece together the events leading up to Madeline's disappearance and death. With the collaboration of the state's attorney's office, we prepared the case for the grand jury that was heard today. The grand jury determined that our department secured enough evidence to obtain a first-degree murder indictment. We appreciate each grand jury member for their careful consideration. We want to thank the diligent work of the state's attorney's office, the medical examiner's office, and our other law enforcement partners who assisted with this investigation. Your expertise and dedication were instrumental in uncovering the truth. The indictment signifies a crucial step forward in our quest for justice and a testament to our commitment to honoring Madeline's memory. We will now take questions. Right, I'm going to defer to the state's attorney.
Good afternoon. Although an indictment has been returned this afternoon, it is still an open and ongoing criminal investigation. So much of this information cannot be disclosed until Mr. Sterns' attorney, if he does so, elects to participate in discovery, and then all of you in the media know how to go about seeking information through public records.
Not that we've uncovered. State attorney?
Again, all questions about the facts of the case are not subject to disclosure because of public records laws at this time. Once his attorney participates in discovery, then you can make public records requests through your normal channels as you do in other cases. At this time, the only person being charged is Stephan Sterns. And again, this is not over. There is an ongoing investigation to uncover more evidence, and therefore we can't comment. There's going to be the same response on any question about the facts of the case. Through the facts of the case.
I agree with that, Queen.
So, with any death case that is reviewed by my office, when it's determined to be a homicide, we have to look at the statutory aggravating factors that are laid out in our Florida law. Once we've determined that we have sufficient evidence to prove those factors to the proper evidentiary standard, then we had to have to talk about whether this is a death penalty case. And that's a discussion that we're still going to be having for the next couple of weeks to make sure that we're making a legal decision that's appropriate in this case. I'll leave that for Mr. Will.
Cannot comment on whether Mr. Sterns has been doing anything. He has counsel. And as far as plea offers, no, there are no plea offers made on the open case. You can address that question with the indictment that should be on the clerk's website if it's not already.
I'm going to have to defer to the state's attorney.
Again, any question about the
Love
facts of
you,
the case, it's going to be
Brazzy.
the same
Thank you for
answer. Once his
coming
attorney
in.
participates in discovery, the public records laws change, and you all will be able to get a lot of that information. As far as the 60 counts that are already filed against Mr. Sterns, that is solely involving Mr. Sterns as a defendant. Not to those 60 charges.
It's a family working with an investigation.
It's an ongoing investigation. Can't comment on who's working with us.
Okay. This will be the last question. I'll let you get that in. What was it?
It's facts of the case. Can't comment on it.
So thank you all so much for coming out today. If you need this gentleman's name, it is Will J, Willjay. He is our homicide unit chief for the state attorney's office for the 9th Judicial Circuit. Thank you all so much for coming out today.
Okay, so there you have it. Stearns has formally been charged. Hey, Crystal, did you get it? Okay, I have the actual, and I have Low 12 to thank for this. Our awesome, awesome mod Low 12 has sent me the actual court doc where he has been charged with first degree homicide. and we're fixing to show that. But first, I'm going to give Crystal a second. Crystal, I think that your StreamYard might be broken on your app on your phone. Try restarting your phone because we still can't hear you. Restart your phone and come back in. That might fix it. Okay. No, I don't have her muted. StreamYard sometimes runs into this problem. Sometimes StreamYard does this, especially if you're working with the app on your phone for StreamYard. It tends to do this sometimes. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up real quick. We have, let me see which one. I think it's this one. No, it's this one. Here is the direct memorandum. And again, thank you, Low 12, for finding this on such short notice. You are absolutely amazing. And it is a summons for Stephan Michael Sterns, um, and where he has been charged with count one, first degree murder, statute 48204.04 of Texas Penal Code. So there's that one. And then we have, and again, thank you, Low 12, for finding these on such short notice. You are absolutely amazing. And here is the second part of that memorandum. In the District Court of the Ninth Judicial Circuit in and for Osceola County, Florida, the state of Florida versus Stephan Michael Stearns. Oh, here we go. Hey, I hear you now.
You can? For the
Yes.
love of frosted flakes. My gosh. I don't know what I'm not leaving. This is what happens when I venture off to try to be proactive. So I'm not leaving this screen. Sorry about all of that, everyone.
No,
Whew.
no, you're fine. I knew kind of what it was before, like whenever you started having the trouble with the muting. I kind of knew what was going on. So I was like, she's got to restart her phone. That should fix it. Like the app does that sometimes. It just wigs out. It's got a mind of its own. Hey, Black, good to see you. You guys, while we're kind of on a pause from this real quick, I would just like to give a shout out to everyone, all the new members, and thank you so much, Miss Brazzy, for gifting memberships. Um,
Mhm.
and I would like to say hello to Kel. And Kel, I sent, if you'll look in the general chat, I sent you an invite to panel love. I would still love for you to come up on panel. And again, our lovely mod low 12. And it looks like we have Kathy in the house and Willat Harris. So good to see you guys. Peekaboo back at you, Kathy. Lovely to see you. Um, let's see here. And I
Yes.
think
Thank you.
that's yes. Oh, and Kel's, of course. And we have Midwest. I seen her peek in just a minute ago, I thought. I thought I seen Midwest. I might not have. She could be kind of busy. This is sorry to just break in and interrupt y'all's day. I just thought that you might all like to know what's going on in this case. Because I know, like so many of you, I have been waiting for murder charges to come in this case. Crystal, what about you?
Oh, me too. Absolutely. I think that it's telling, even though he's been charged with murder. Now I heard you going over the laws there, like barely, but um, I think it's more of an accessory. I still think there's charges coming down the pike, just based off of what they said. It's an ongoing investigation. We can't
Uh
comment.
huh.
So I, I,
Exactly.
I just Jen
I mean, they.
sus. She's
Oh,
suspect.
she's so. Well, we know for a fact she lied. I mean, she said that. She witnessed her daughter getting ready for school in her original sworn statement whenever she met up with police at the church. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She
And then
said in her sworn statement she seen Madeline getting ready for school at 8 a.m. And that's in our previous video for those of you who would like to go back and look at that. Um, we have posted all of the sworn statements and everything in the videos. You can go back and look at that. But Jennifer Soto said that she witnessed Madeline Soto getting dressed for school at 8 a.m.
which we know,
and that Madeline was dead before 7:30.
yeah, because the cops said in they said in their press conference, not today, but a previous one, that they believe she died in the early morning. So early morning, I guess,
God
is
bless you, Queen. It was so good having you here. Sorry,
one's
Crystal.
own
Go ahead.
perception, you know. So I don't know. I
There's
just
Midwest.
mm,
No, I agree. I agree. They said that she died in the early morning hours. We know that
mhm,
Stephan Sterns was throwing her book bag away at 7:30.
right,
So they have proof that she was no longer alive at 7:30 a.m.
hmm,
And in Madeline Soto's statement, her original handwritten sworn statement when she reported Madeline missing, she said she woke her up and witnessed her alive at 8 a.m., which we now know is a blatant lie.
right. Her timeline changed 3 times, so she lied just based on the timeline that she was giving from her own mouth. So she's not credible.
At all. At all. But that also tells me that she played a role in this and that more charges are coming, not just for Stefan. Because what we have to look at this, Stefan Stearns is
You
already
per-
on the hook for penalty for his 60 charges in the abuse of Madeline,
right.
correct?
Hmm.
So
And they mentioned
this,
that.
the grand jury, mm-hmm,
Did you catch that when he said that he was the sole person for those 60 charges? But he never
mm-hmm,
said that he was the sole person for the
sole
murder.
person for the harm. Exactly, exactly, Crystal. Bingo. Right there. They have yet to say that he actually ended her life. As a matter of fact, during that press conference, it said they had enough evidence with him having her dead in the car
Right.
and disposing of her body. That's what they're using against him for this first degree capital murder charge, which they are charging him with first degree murder by Florida statute for accessory after the fact. Would you agree with that?
Yes. 100%.
Yes, Kill, all lies. Like everything out of Jennifer's mouth was a lie.
Yeah. I mean, at least Dummy, he's sitting in jail and he's keeping his mouth shut. You know what I mean? He ain't saying shit. And neither is she right now, but I mean, I would not take the fall. If like I'm already facing death. So why wouldn't I mean, I hope he starts to speak. Maybe this is why they did it. They forced his hand with charging him with that. So he'll come out and say, "Yeah, but I this is my part in it. That's what she did. She did that."
I think Stephan Stern's attorney knew that there was a grand jury in session for these first degree murder charges, and that's why he didn't present to court today, and they have postponed his appearance. That
But
he
he's
waived his right to the appearance.
he hasn't shown up to any of his court appearances though. None of them. Not one of them. He's refused every time. I think this would be his like what, third one? Because his initial appearance, wasn't there, and then when they filed the 60 charges, he wasn't there. He refused.
Right. Well, I have something interesting here. Again, thank you, Low 12. You are so amazing. for getting this document so quickly and getting it to me before the live. I appreciate it so much. But I would like to read this. In the Circuit Court of the Ninth Judicial District in and for Osceola County, Florida, spring term 2024, direct indictment case number 2024 CF 1293, Division, First Degree Murder Capital, the State of Florida versus Stephan Sterns. In the name and by the authority of the State of Florida, the grand jurors of the County of Osceola, duly called, impaneled, and sworn to inquire and true present, presentment make in and for the body of the county of Osceola upon their oath do present that Stephan Michael Stearns on or between the 25th day of February 2024 and the 27th day. Whoa,
Oh,
whoa.
that's changing the timeline.
That just changed the yes, absolutely. They're
Because
saying between the 25th of February and the 27th of February.
but we know that he disposed of the laptop and her backpack at 7:30 on the 26th.
Uh-huh.
So the
Yep.
27th was when he was arrested because they found the stuff on his phone. And the 25th, that means that she could have died that evening
Yes.
to
That's
early
exactly what that
mornings.
means. It's saying that he participated in this crime. Basically, that's what this is saying. The 25th day of February,
That was the day of her birthday party.
that was the day of her birthday party.
That was Sunday.
Uh-huh. So I'm gonna read this again. The grand jurors of of the county of Osceola, duly called, impaneled, and sworn to inquire and true presentment make in and for the body of the county of Osceola, upon their oath, do present that Stephen Michael Stearns, on or between the 25th day of February, on or between the 25th day of February, 2024, and the 27th day of February, 2024, in said county and state, did in violation of Florida statute 782.041A1 from the premeditated design to effect the death. Wait. From a premeditated design to affect the death of Madeline Soto, a human being, unlawfully kill Madeline Soto. Okay, so let's pull that up. Florida statute.
Hmm.
782.04.
I mean, because you would think, just just throwing this out there while you're looking, when they had their news conference and they charged him with murder, if there was no one else involved, they would say, yeah, this is an ongoing investigation. He is our suspect, our only suspect. Nobody else is being looked at. They didn't say any of that.
They didn't. They absolutely didn't. Okay. So I have that statute actually pulled up. So let's present that. Here we go. Murder. And these, here's a list of the charges under the 78 782.04 murder. The unlawful killing of a human being when perpetrator from a premeditated design to affect the death of a person Oh, to affect the death of a person killed or any human being when committed by a person engaged in the perpetration of or in the attempt of or an attempt to perpetrate any traffic offense, arson, uh, essay battery, robbery, burglary, kidnapping, escape, aggravated child abuse, aggravated elderly or disabled abuse, aircraft piracy, unlawful throwing, carjacking, home invasion, aggravated stalking, murder of another human being, resist an officer with violence, aggravated fleeing or eluding with serious bodily injury or death, felony that is an act of terrorism or further, which resulted from the unlawful distribution by a person for substances, a substance controlled, and it gives the different substance controls, um, is murder in the first degree and constitutes a capital felony punished as provided. In the cases under this section, the procedure set forth shall be followed in order to determine sentence of death or life in prison. If the prosecutor intends to seek the death penalty, the prosecutor must give notice to the defendant and file the notice with the court within 45 days after arraignment. The notice must contain a list of aggravating factors, which they said in the press conference they didn't have that all sorted out yet. And state intends to prove and has reason to believe it can prove beyond a reasonable doubt. The court may allow the prosecutor to amend the notice upon a showing of good cause. The unlawful killing of a human being when perpetrated by an act eminently dangerous to another and evincing and depraved mind regardless of human life, although without any premeditated design to effect the death or any particular individual, is murder in the second degree and constitutes as a felony of the first degree, punishable by imprisonment for the term of years not exceeding life or as provided. Um, and then we have these ones again. It's the different reasons you can be charged. And by a person other than the person engaged in the perpetration of the attempt to perpetrate such felony, the person perpetrating or attempting to perpetrate such felony commits an act in the second degree. Um, and then it has um, the other, the same statutes that you can be charged. And then it has a murder in the third degree and all of that. So there is what he has actually been charged with. He has been charged with first degree um, homicide. And it can be from any of these reasons listed 1 to 13.
Mm-hmm. So,
Or, I'm sorry, A to S.
now I go back to the fact that um, he's already facing death for just those 60 charges alone, correct?
Uh huh. Yes.
So, um, what if they indicted him again to force his hand if anybody else is involved? I mean, you can't kill him twice. You can only kill him once. And he probably knows that. But why would he cover for Jen? Like, I just don't see, like, if he didn't do it, if he really wasn't involved and he only helped with, like, the cleanup, why wouldn't he has, I would be screaming, like, okay, yeah, I'm a sick, bum, 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 but I didn't murder her. I helped after the fact.
Correct. Why isn't he saying that? But then
And
again, if he's
if he did it, I'm changing my mode of the cause. Like I wouldn't think, because I say blunt force, if the it's the other one, and then I would have to go with like everyone else who's
Strangulation.
yes
If it
that
was
said strict.
Stefan and blunt force, if it was Jen.
Yeah, that's what I see it as.
Yeah.
Because you know
Yes.
why I say that? Because if Jen did it, she's not going to want to put herself any closer to that girl because sh- she doesn't look at her as a daughter. She looks at her as competition, a thorn in her side. I mean, she didn't even have the decency to ask about having some of the ashes. Like you said, divide the ashes between both biological parents. Nothing.
Right.
So,
What would make a parent not want to keep their child? Like,
right. I can see the
I
whole
don't know. That's
sharing thing, I suppose, but I just can't. It's almost like she didn't know anything about her daughter. She didn't know if she knew how to get home. She didn't know if she was in fact autistic. She didn't know about abuse, supposedly. So, all of these things she didn't know, and it's because she didn't want to know. She didn't want to have a relationship. So I can't see her actually strangling her because that would put her, in close to her daughter. And I think that's the one thing she doesn't want is any closeness to Madeline. And it's really sad. Madeline deserves so much better. So much better.
so much better.
And I also find it telling that no one is coming out and saying, well, you're not hearing from Jen's mother anymore, her sister, her friends, her family, nothing. Nothing. Like I still think that he was the cleanup guy. That's and I think there's more charges coming. And if they don't charge her with the murder, they need to charge her with abuse and neglect and anything else as far as Madeline goes because she neglected her for
Right.
sure. She,
Stephan Sterns. I've got a question in the chat.
oh,
Um, he did have court today, but his appearance. He waived his appearance on the other 60 charges today in court. He signed a waiver. Him and his lawyer did to where he didn't have to appear in person today. But because he signed that waiver, they had to postpone the court hearing until August. They moved it to August. Yes, Lat, it absolutely is. It is terrible and it is heartbreaking. It's terrible and it's heartbreaking.
it is. It's Madeline deserves so much better.
Every child deserves better.
And I just don't even think that
Every
Madeline knew
child.
what that love was, from a mother to a daughter to you're supposed to protect and
Nurture and love.
nurture and yeah, and she did none of that. It's like this all about her and her needs. And I get it, I've said this before. I understand people, don't always end up in staying in the same relationships and they move on and they meet people and whatever. But in this day and age, really in any day and age, you need to put your children's safety first because just because you meet somebody and you think that you like them doesn't mean that they're a good person. You know, if you want to invest your life in this person, then invest the time for your children to make sure that they're going to be protected before you even bring a man or a woman around a child that is not theirs. Because, I mean, it works both ways. Men and women can be abusive. So I just, people need to do better. I'm not saying don't get married, remarried, or date somebody. Just put the time in and to learn about them before you introduce them to your children is all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Um, so now that we know also that being an accessory after the fact in the state of Florida can get you charged with the actual capital crime, um, of murder. Where does that lead you to believe? Do you think that more arrests are coming in this case, Crystal?
Yes, 100%, in my opinion. Absolutely. There was Madeline, Jen, and him that were in that apartment or were in that apartment between the 25th and 27th. Those are the only three people we know of. The police said at their presser, not this one, the one before, that
Hmm.
she died in that apartment somewhere early in the morning. And then why would you not let the police come in and search your house? Why would you refuse them to come in? Why would you make them go get a warrant? Your child is missing. You don't know where she is, and
Hmm.
you're refusing help. I mean, mm-mm. I don't know. I don't agree with that either. There's so many things that, and if she's innocent and didn't, in fact, do that, then I will publicly apologize for calling her the M word. But I am not going to apologize because she is like the hands down one of the worst mothers that
Well,
I've had privy to
according
even know about.
according to her own lies in her statements directly to the police, just that alone is enough, I believe. Even if Jennifer didn't commit the actual act, she should be charged just the same as Stephan by Florida's own law with first degree homicide. She was
Right,
an
because,
accessory to it. She helped
right,
cover it up.
exactly. They're both involved because they were in that house. He disposed
Uh,
of the items. She lied about seeing her at 8 o'clock. They both lied about
mm-hmm,
dropping her off.
mm-hmm.
Um, then she lied about saying she put her to bed and that was the last time she saw her. So which story is it? And people can get angry and say, well, and she very well may be. But like you said, she is making herself look guilty with her lies, her own statements.
Well, if you've seen in the latest short video I posted about Madeline Soto's mother, Jennifer, in her interviews, um, you know what? Let me just pull that up real quick and play it real quick. I guess it's my content, so I won't get distracted for that. Um,
Right.
let's see here. Let's go to channel.
And when she's having this discussion with this reporter, it's just, uh, I don't know. She's just, she's guilty of being a lousy ass mother. Whoops, sorry. Bleep, bleep. She is,
I understand you're mad. I think we're all outraged
she's
for
not a
Madeline.
mother.
I
She's not
think
a mother. And I won't apologize for my thoughts on how or the lack of her maternal instinct goes. But if I'm wrong as far as the other goes, I will publicly apologize because I really don't know, but that's the vibe that they've put out there or she's put out there. We've only heard him speak what in that brief interview where she was coddling him and holding on to him as he cried, and she never shed a
hmm
tear, not one
not
tear
one.
for her daughter. Never said, I love you. If Madeline, if you're out there, come home. If you have my daughter. Nope, she's been abducted. I don't think it's going to
She
help
made
if we're
this.
looking down,
No, she
you
she
know.
more or less made disparaging comments about Madeline and allegedly having autism, which was never, I guess, actually diagnosed or anything. It was just a clinical suspicion. Um,
Hmm.
but I have a video right here I want to play real quick. This is from my latest short on Jennifer Soto. But listen to this. So, what did Jennifer Soto say in her interview about, wasn't it domestic violence with Madeline? Let's take a listen to that again.
A thing back. And Jen, there's no way that she just being, a teenager was like maybe had a fight with you or an argument with you and was like, you know what, I'm gonna go hang out at so and so's house and teach her a lesson. Could that be a scenario?
I don't believe so. We actually haven't gotten into a fight in like a few weeks or
We haven't gotten into a fight in a few weeks. And then she elaborates.
arguments or anything like that.
What? What did she say? Let's listen to that one more time, a little slower. Make sure I didn't miss that.
So we actually haven't gotten into a fight in like a few weeks or arguments or anything like that.
So, what do you guys think about that? What do you think about that, Crystal? Do you think that was the Freudian slip?
Oh, I do. I think that um, basically there's a. I would have to imagine that living in that house, they had some drag out fights. They probably did because I mean, Madeline was a 13-year-old. She was coming into herself and her own voice and probably discovering everything that she'd been going through was wrong, and from the reports out there, and I don't have any receipts, so it's just in the reports that she had been saying to her friends, you know, this is happening, and that people thought that Jen knew about it. So did she not believe her? Um,
Oh,
I
I think
just,
she believed her. I think she just. I think you're right about it. I think she looked more at her daughter like competition than she did a child.
yeah, I mean, she was holding Stefan while he's crying, and she can't even produce a tear when she's talking about her own daughter. And she's holding him. I mean, he's sick and twisted, but she is just like, I don't know. It's like void of any emotion. And she can't even fake emotion. That's how she doesn't even know. She doesn't have any emotion. She has no empathy because she can't even fake empathy or emotion. So she's just like void. I just feel this big void when I look at her. She's just
Well,
going through life and just not a care in the world. I just,
I mean, I have to say with these two, I'm confused on who the biggest liar is.
yeah. Well, I
With
think
all of
she's
the
the biggest liar. I think he's just not talking, but I don't know why. Like, I mean, you're already facing death. Wouldn't you? I mean, if you loved Madeline in some sick, twisted, deprived way, wouldn't you want her to get justice if she was taken away from you? You know what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't you say? Because once again, we know that Madeline, Jen, and Stefan were in that house the night before, the morning of,
uh-huh.
and that evening. So there was nobody else in that house. Nobody. And
And
she
that's according
lied.
and that's according to the police timeline,
Right. She
not just
lied.
her timeline.
She said, remember, oh, I saw her at 8:30 in the morning. No, you didn't. You lied. You lied. You didn't see her. Did you see Stefan bringing out her bag and her laptop, throwing it in the trash? What did you see, Jen? What did you see? And regardless, I think she owes an explanation. She needs, you need to explain what happened. If you're not guilty, then come out, sit down, go on Dateline, do whatever, and explain yourself. I just, Madeline's gone. Madeline gets justice, but not really because she doesn't get to live her life. She doesn't get to, go to prom and graduate, get married, have kids, go to college, all that stuff. She doesn't get to do any of that. None of it.
None of it. She's been denied a future.
So there is no
She's
justice for her. There
none.
really isn't.
There really isn't.
And to me, if the mother isn't charged again, at the very least, with neglect and child abuse, um, then there's something wrong with the justice system, period. Because according to their own statements, the affidavits, all three of them were in that apartment. All three of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the only
Yes.
ones.
Yes. Absolutely. So at this point, we know that Jennifer Soto was there with Madeline whenever she was no longer alive. She lied about um seeing her alive at 8:30, and we know that to be a fact because of the police timeline. So the only real question that remains, if there is even a question that really remains, because at this point, I want to know why charges have not been brought against Jennifer Soto.
Well, I have my suspicion, possibly, and that suspicion would be that if he was the only one on camera seen bringing Madeline out, throwing her items away, driving
Uh-huh.
away, and coming back, then and Jen never left the house because maybe she was cleaning up inside, but that's the only way I can see that they could might not have the video of her contributing to all of these things. I mean, the video had to have proved
Well, they
if she
just
came,
said,
you know.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's
They
okay. Go
just
ahead.
they just said in the press conference that the evidence used against him to charge him with first degree homicide was the footage of Madeline no longer living in his car and tying him to disposing of her body. That's what they have against him.
Right. But they don't
That's what
have
they used
Jen
to indict. Go ahead.
doing any of those things. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
she was in the house, she never came out. So for them to be able to prove that she was part of it might be more difficult because there is no video. He's the only one on video.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. And at this point, I'm curious to know what the evidence is going to show with the phone records previous to 7:30 a.m. I want to know
Mm.
what Jennifer's phone records show.
Well, and that's the other thing. If he was actually there the night before and he left, it will show him leaving at whatever time he left. And if she called him to
Yes.
come back, it will show him returning. But if he was there the entire time, neither of those videos are going to exist because it didn't happen. And there is video of that house because, I mean, they have all the other video. So I think that's what it boils down to. I really do. I think that because she wasn't on video when any of the disposing of the laptop, the moving of Madeline, because he had to have moved her into the car. So he had to have done that under the cover of dark. You wouldn't bring somebody deceased out in at 7:30 in the morning. You just wouldn't do it. You'd wait till dark. If you're gonna move a body and put her in a car and pretend like you're taking her to school. So Madeline's body had to have been moved prior to when he left that first time. I mean, not that first time, but before the video of him tossing the items away. She had to have been gone. He moved her. She didn't get out of that, like she didn't die inside the car because they said she died in the apartment. Does any of what I said make sense?
Yes, it
Because
does.
I got a little excited there for a minute. So it's just this case is
No.
just, it just, so If they do have video of him moving the body, like I said, I mean, I'm not a criminal, but if I was, I would think that I'd want the cover of darkness to work in, not broad daylight. Because, I mean, how often did he carry her to the car? Probably never. So if it was 7:30 and he put her in the car between 7:30 and 8 before he left, somebody would have seen him in the neighborhood. I mean, this is a
Yes.
complex type of thing. So,
Well,
um,
we know that for a fact that they actually have video footage of Stephan Sterns with Madeline, no longer alive,
right,
in his car.
right. And
And they have cell data 100% linking him and an eyewitness linking him to the actual site he used to dispose of poor Madeline.
mhm,
And as we know from the press conference just a little while ago, that's what they're using to charge him with first degree murder for Madeline.
right. So it's the same video that they talked about. But again,
Hmm.
like, so if she died early morning and this is before dawn, and he is either called over there, we'll go with he's called over there. He comes in, you see him pull in, you see him go in, right? And then you see him bring down, maybe she was wrapped in a blanket or something, put her in the car and keep her covered. Then you dispose of the laptop, the backpack. Um, they do whatever they do, and then he leaves and returns. So all he had to do was keep her covered until he got in the car to leave, because
Hmm.
obviously he had her sitting up. So I just don't know. And if you, again, if he wasn't there, then we're going to see video, because the video is really good. If they can see that she is already passed, that video is good. Do you see what I'm saying? Like they
Yes.
had to have known. So my thinking is they have him on video bringing out her body wrapped in a blanket, and then they have all the other stuff. So
I
was
would
he
just like,
there, or was he not? Did he show up?
well,
And Jen,
according to Jennifer Soto's sworn statement when she first reported Madeline missing, she called Stephan to come take Madeline to school. And
right?
I'm gonna suspect that phone records are gonna show that. I could
Yeah.
be wrong. I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone that's coming in, you guys. Hello and welcome. We got Paige, um, Cock Chalk, welcome. Welcome to the chat. Yes, we see you. Um, we have the Journey to Justice again. Hello, lovely. So good to see you again. Um, no, we're talking about uh Stephan Sterns being charged in the Madeline Soto case. We have a couple of other lives scheduled for this week. I actually have some very intriguing evidence about Sebastian Rogers and a few other cases we're going to be going over this week. Um, so, but no, right now we're not covering the Oklahoma. I'm sorry, the Oklahoma ladies, Veronica and Julian, who were tragically killed. We're talking about Madeline Soto. Um, now, Crystal, if you wouldn't mind continuing with what you were saying, I just wanted to give a shout out to everyone and say hello and thank you all for joining us. You guys, please remember to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't again. Exactly, Journey to Justice. That means Mother never saw Madeline getting dressed. But here's the
Right.
question: who dressed Madeline Soto? We know
Uh,
she was we know she was, and according to this what Low 12 sent me, and again Low 12, thank you so very much. If we look at the actual grand jury indictment, the grand jurors of the county of Osceola, duly called, impaneled, and sworn to inquire and true presentment make in and for the body of the county of Osceola, upon their oath, do present that Stephan Michael Stearns on or between the 25th day of February 2024 and the 27th day of February 2024 in said county and state did, in violation of Florida statute, and we've gone over that statute, from a premeditated design to effect the death of Madeline Soto, a human being unlawfully kill Madeline Soto. But
So
as
in
we've
that
already read,
that
go ahead.
document that you just read,
Uh-huh.
what is that again?
That that is the grand jury indictment.
Okay,
That is the actual direct indictment
because I have
case
definitely
number.
I caught something that time different than I did the first time.
Okay.
So I have questions. So basically, the grand jury just
Hmm.
said that he was in that house from the 25th to the 27th when he was arrested. So from the birthday party to the time he was arrested, he was there. So he was there. And she's saying he wasn't there, that she called him. And that's why I think they're having a hard time with it because Jen's phone probably never pinged anywhere but that house. So she was there. And the video, she probably never went outside until he came back and she found out that she was missing or when she went to go get her. Whatever her excuse was coming out, but she probably stayed in that house. That was her alibi, was having her phone ping there and not being seen on video. Because obviously they can't prove within the apartment. So
Paige Paige has a brilliant question. I would like to get in there real quick. Could he just be covering for Jen because he is going to prison anyway?
I don't think so though. Because you know why? Because again, in his sick, demented, twisted, deprived way, he loved Madeline. Whereas Jen has nothing for Madeline. She didn't appear to have any love for her daughter, in my opinion. So,
But we don't know if Stefan cared about Madeline. We have to take I don't know one way or another, so I can't
right.
say, but he's already looking at the possibility of capital murder for the other 60 charges involving Madeline. And
I
now we
just,
know that every one of those charges was directly related to Madeline. Every single one of them were every one of those videos, all of those pictures were of Madeline. We know that
right.
now. The police have said as much. So here's the thing, if he's already looking at this crime, the other 60 charges as capital punishment, is
I,
he so down in his own mind about what he did? Do you think that maybe in his own mind he actually blames himself for
no,
Madeline's death? And well, hold on a second before you say that. He was the only one that shed a single tear.
exactly. I do agree with you on that. I
So
just don't,
in his mind, did something come about in that he is to blame for Madeline's death, regardless if he ended her life or not? And since he's already looking at, what if he just doesn't want to live anymore after all of this has come out? And he just doesn't care what they put on him anymore. We've seen this in cases before.
right. I don't know.
I
I don't
think it's a
know.
good question. I
No, it
really
is a good
do.
question. It really is, but I just don't feel like he loved her. He never, okay, so let's look at it like this. So when he was crying, she was consoling him. And even then, he was pulling away. If you look at the video, you'll see like she's leaning forward, and so is he to kind of put some separation between the two of them. So I don't think he loved her. I think she provided Madeline to him in a sense that he was with her because he wanted Madeline. Madeline was the one he cared about. So that's why I don't know. Maybe again, maybe they're trying to get him to come clean and say, no, I just cleaned up after. I'm guilty of all those things, but maybe they'll take death off the table and he'll live his miserable last breath in behind those bars. Because I just don't see him giving a crap about Jen. And if she did do it, I mean, he
Hmm.
would hate her. But like when she was having her interviews, he was sitting behind her. Like he never coddled her, never, said it, oh, it's okay.
But she coddled him.
Right. Exactly. So I think that love path worked one way. I think she, if she's even capable of love, because I highly doubt it, was more on her end. And I think she was just like I said, the freeway to Madeline. I think
I do spec
Madeline.
I do speculate that same thing. I really do. But the Journey to Justice said Jen saw her daughter getting dressed. Must have been a dead body, Jen. Yes, Journey to Justice, exactly. Because
Hmm.
as we all know for a fact, Madeline Soto was no longer alive. We know at least by 7:30 a.m. We know that to be a fact, that she was no longer alive at 7:30 a.m. And in Jennifer Soto's sworn statements, she saw Madeline getting dressed at 8 a.m.
Hmm.
Now, here's a weird phenomenon that happens with cases, especially whenever it's the parents involved. If there's any kind of remorse or anything like that, and I think we've kind of learned about this in the Casey Anthony case. Um, do you remember how they found? Uh, do you
I
remember
didn't.
how they found
I did.
Casey Anthony's daughter?
I didn't follow
Wrapped in a
that case.
blanket, wrapped
Yeah,
in a blanket, and all of that, like lovingly placed where she was. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now I
It,
do. Now that
it's
you put it in there,
uh-huh. It's typical in these kind of cases for parents to dress their children.
which
It's a
is
common phenomenon.
absolutely absurd. If you took their life and then you wrap them and try to, but even then, like with Jen, I don't see that. I don't see her dressing her. I don't see her doing. She probably didn't. She despised that child. She was her competition. I can't see her lovingly dressing her, or I mean, she gave her ashes up, and people are going to say, "Well, no, the lawyer gave." But she could have said, "Oh, my mother. I'll have my mother come get them, or my sister."
Hmm.
She didn't. I just don't think that she's capable of even loving her daughter in death.
Just want to give a quick shout out to Ryan Brimmer and Chalk Rocket. Welcome to the chat. Glad to have you. And you guys, if y'all haven't hit that like and subscribe, please do consider doing so. It would really help the channel a whole lot. We appreciate you guys for being here. Um,
Cal, you should come up on panel with us, or Paige. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. This case for me is just, it's a lot. And all of these cases are hard, but I just, I am just sickened by what that child endured for the last 5 years of her life.
well, here's
Sickened.
my biggest question. If Jennifer Soto didn't have anything to do with Madeline Soto's murder, why is she lying?
Right. What is she covering up? What is, if that's the case, then what does he have on her?
Well, yeah, that's a very good question too, huh? Which I'm sure they've already rated his apartment and all of that. Most likely, I would assume. Um, It seems like, that Kissimmee, uh, it seems like they're really involved in trying to get justice for Madeline. It really does. I mean, they've worked hard on this
Mm-hmm.
case. And it
And they're
is
still
somewhat of a
working
relief
hard.
to see. Yes, they really are. Shout out to Osceola County Sheriff's Department for that. But here's the thing: if if Jennifer Soto was there, which she puts herself there in her own sworn statements,
Mm-hmm.
she had to have known Madeline was dead.
Mm-hmm.
There's no avoiding that at this point. There's
So
no
and she deserves by law the same. It's the same murder charge, correct?
exactly. Yes, under Florida statute that I just read to y'all a while ago, that she's to be charged with the first degree murder, right? If she's an
Mm-hmm.
accessory to it, she's to be charged with first degree murder in a first degree case. I mean, literally in Florida, what you're accessory to, you get charged with. There is
Mm-hmm.
no lighter sentencing and this, that, or the other. Of course, they take in aggravated factors and things like that that might, change your sentencing a little. But whenever you commit a crime in Florida, if you have a getaway driver, if you go in a store and you rob it and someone ends up dead by your hand because you robbed the store, your getaway driver doesn't get charged with accessory. They get charged with first degree murder just like you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So again, it falls back to the same thing. She was in that apartment when Madeline died. Period. That's where they said. That's where the sheriff's department said in their last presser, the one before that, not the last one, the one before that, that she died in that apartment. They knew she died in that apartment, and they knew she died in the early morning. That was their statement, their words. She died. We believe she died early morning in the apartment. So
Early
Jen was
morning
there.
hours.
Yeah, so Jen was there. Jen was there. Unless Jen wasn't there, but where would she have been? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all.
She was
So,
there.
this tells me one of two things. One of two things. Since they haven't cleared Jennifer
Anyone.
Soto, and we just heard that anyone in this press conference, we know now for a fact that this is still an ongoing investigation and that no one has been cleared still. Okay. And that Stephan is the only one charged in the 60 counts, but they refused to say he was the only one being charged for her homicide. That was in the
Correct.
press conference. They refused to say that. So, how much longer do we have in for first degree homicide as well? I mean, it's coming. According to Florida statute and Florida law, from everything that we've seen from start to finish in this case, Jennifer Soto is going to be charged
Mm-hmm.
with Madeline's homicide as well. Would you agree with
Mm-hmm.
that?
I would.
And that's my opinion from a legal standpoint, but
Right.
I'm
Well, it
going
said it in the
off of the
statute.
actual penal codes,
Right. It says it right there. So, I mean,
All
she
right, so
was
Crystal,
there.
we're gonna do your favorite thing, you guys. I just opened up the phone lines. Um,
Perfect.
I just opened up the phone lines. I want to hear what you guys think. I want to hear your opinions and your take on it. The phone number is 870-266-6949. We look forward to hearing your call, and the lines are open. So let me just do this real quick. Um,
I just think it's going to come down to the video and, like you said, the phone data, and somebody has got to squeal. If it saves him, who knows? I don't know. What do you think's going to happen?
I'm with the journey to justice. Jen is going down for some part in this. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you
If
100%.
if she doesn't, then it's a complete injustice to the state of
Oh,
Florida.
we have a caller.
Call from
Paige.
to accept, press 1.
Well, hello, Paige.
Hi, Paige.
Hello.
Crystal
How
says
are
hello. It's so good to hear from you. So, what are you thinking in this case right now?
Hey, Crystal. Hey, everybody in chat. I really do think that the mom is going to have some type of charges coming, and they may be doing, like a grand jury indictment, maybe. So, maybe we don't
Ooh.
know anything yet. But for her to be there, they obviously know she was there.
Uh-huh.
Um, I mean, yeah, I just don't see how she could get out of that. I mean, maybe not first degree, but I don't see how she could just get off scot free. I mean, there's just no way. At least neglect or falsifying statements on her police report, something.
Well, you heard in the statute, anyone that tries to cover up the crime or anything is to be charged with the exact same crime.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there you go. I think they're doing like an indictment or something. I don't think they're going to say much cuz they might be scared that maybe she'll run or, you know, or it could be that which I do agree with, like some of what Crystal was saying too about Stefan when I brought up maybe he's just taking the full rap because he's like, I'm going to prison anyway.
Yeah.
Um, that could be a thing too. Like maybe he's trying to save Jen for some reason and just taking the full rap because he knows he's done for.
Right.
I mean, if there's two of you and one of you gets caught, you know what I mean? Like, are you going to snitch on the other person too, even though you're about to get life?
And we know she's facing life in prison. I mean, we know he's facing life in prison or the death
Right.
penalty. And as you heard from the prosecuting
Exactly.
attorney earlier, they're still having to look into the aggravating factors.
Yeah. So it could be that he's just like, well, I'll probably end up getting life anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna die in here, so I'll just take the rap. And maybe he hasn't even. Um, I doubt that he's even really talked. So
She's probably
maybe
right.
he's
I
not
agree.
saying a word. I don't know
Crystal said, "You're probably right." She agrees.
And I do agree
about
with
him taking the rap for everything.
Uh huh.
um and about being
That's the
quiet
only
and
thing I
not
could think
talking.
of is if he said, I did it. Jen was asleep. She didn't hear anything. I snuck Madeline, but then you have her saying, "Well, I saw her getting ready." So it's like
Right.
you should still get in trouble for lying about that.
Well, she tried to help cover it up. And by
Yeah.
Florida statute, that in itself is reason to be charged with the first degree homicide right along with Stephan Sterns.
Right. And she
I mean,
clearly
it just
lied.
makes me wonder though, what was, well, like you said, okay, what's the aggravating factors, but what would be the motivation for him? Well, honestly, we don't actually know what time she died. Um, but we know he came over that morning, correct? Like he wasn't there the whole night, right?
Right. Well, according to their sworn statements, both of them.
But according to the
I
indictment,
feel like
it
the
says
police
that he
would,
was there.
well, they know whether he was there or not. And they
Well,
clearly
Right.
tell us that they see him, pulling out and she's whatever. So I don't know. I mean, maybe he was there and we don't know that. Maybe he thought he was slick and parked somewhere else, but I just don't see what would make him um do that to her uh out of the blue. Well, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't out of the blue, but you get what I'm saying. He's messed this little girl's life up since she was 9 years old.
a
Why kill
baby.
her now? Right.
Right. Because she
Why
was
do it now on a early morning? That just doesn't. I just don't see that. And like Crystal said, I think he had some sick, twisted, like where he probably did love her.
Uh huh.
Um, Unfortunately, he did show more emotion, and you could say it's fake, and it could be, but he's the only one that actually seemed kind of upset, which is sickening. But I don't know. I just don't know what would have been the factor for him to murder her that morning. Out of any other day. I mean, it just doesn't. That's a really horrible time to try and do something and get away with a crime. That early in the morning, people are getting up, going to work, kids are getting on the bus, everything else. Like, that's a really risky time to do something like that.
So ask her what time she thinks her body was moved to the car.
And if she would have died in the night, that would have been a lot easier to dispose of her somewhere, because you're covered in the darkness of night. So I don't think that she died in the nighttime, because that would have been way easier for them.
Right.
You wouldn't wait till 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock to start going and figure out where you're going to put her.
Well, before they even, Paige, what do you think about this? Before they even said anything at all else about this case during the search for Madeline, they come out and said, we have video of her no longer alive.
Right, that's what I don't get. So what I want to know is there video of her alive getting in his car that morning? That's what I'm like dying to know. And I don't know whether it's a camera coming in, going out that spotted it, so they don't know if she was alive when she got in the car. But it could have
her
been,
stuff
like
was
a
already.
front gate to the complex has a camera. That still blows my mind though. Why would you come back with a deceased child in your car? Like, what? That doesn't even make sense to me. That's why I think it's like off the handle, like it was not planned at all.
Yeah. Yes.
Something happened.
Yes. And the coroner said he could not release the results of the autopsy because it was covered under Florida statutes of not, not exposing anyone, a minor's cause of death for domestic violence. So
yeah, that's another thing. I mean, would they consider to
Call from
unknown caller?
to accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello?
They both.
I don't know what just happened.
I think they both hung up because I think Paige probably hung up so the other caller could go, and then they realized that she was just have one of them call back.
Oh no, you guys call back in. I tried holding one call and it did something. I don't know what. I was trying to hold one call because Paige was still on the line. So evidently my beautiful savvy equipment didn't work properly, or my software rather, I should say.
Oh, I mean, they can both call back.
Yes, please call back in, Paige. Oh my goodness.
I mean, there we go.
There we go.
Call from
Well, hello, unknown caller.
Wow, Regina, I really appreciate being part of the program here. I usually get told that I have to show my face, not my waist, all this stuff. So I really appreciate the opportunity to go live with you today.
Oh, well, I appreciate you calling in. We don't
Thank
judge
you.
people on whether or not they want to keep their phone numbers private. That's just harsh. So I'm not going to do that.
I mean, because the big thing is, you got to protect your anonymity as much as you can. So I'm kind of old school. I don't have caller ID. I don't have call waiting. So I kind of, just try to keep it real. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So.
Thank you for
but in terms
calling
of this case, wow, it's extremely troubling. I mean, obviously, Mr. Sterns is going to be probably going to be locked up for a very long time. But I do think Miss Soto, there's just I just can't fathom a way that she didn't know kind of what was going on. And for her to kind of, I don't know if she got some kind of immunity to or something, or some kind of sweetheart deal where she's going to plead guilty later. Maybe they'll give her a reduced sentence, but it just, it seems kind of silly to me at this point. We're what 2.5 months into this, and she still hasn't been formally charged or anything like that. And I just want to get your viewpoint on that.
My viewpoint on it so far is I think charges are coming. I think that the grand jury indictment on Stephan Sterns was easier to get because they do have, like I said, the video obviously of him traveling with Madeline no longer alive in the vehicle. And they have him dead to rights with cell phone data and an eyewitness that actually put him at the scene where Madeline's body was recovered from. And they right now what they can't do is they can't place Jennifer Soto at the actual scene where Madeline was disposed of, but they do have all this evidence against Stephan. Now, what gets me is they served a search warrant to Jennifer Soto to gain access to her home just to search for any clues as to where Madeline was. Now, Jennifer Soto was the sole leasee on that apartment. And as we now know, that property actually belongs to her family members. And she had been living there for a long time. But I do think with her sworn statements to law enforcement, her initial sworn statements to law enforcement, where they say, where she said she seen Madeline getting dressed at 8 o'clock. Well, we know Madeline was no longer alive at 8 o'clock because Stephan Sterns was seen taking her out of the apartment complex. What was it, Crystal? 7:19, I do believe.
I think it was 7. The items, the laptop. Is that what you're
No,
talking
no, no,
about?
no. No, I mean 8:19. 8:19. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
They
that's when
have
he
him.
returns. When he
Yeah.
returns.
Uh-huh.
But
And they said that they have her in the car. They place her in the car with him, unalive,
mm-hmm.
at 8:19. And he was throwing her backpack away at 7:30. So what, 7:34, 7:35, something like that?
7:35.
Yeah. So I think that Madeline Soto's mother, Jennifer, Um, I think that there is enough evidence to charge her with first degree murder by Florida statutes because in Florida you don't get charged with accessory. You get charged with the crime that you participate in, whether it's covering it up or aiding and abetting or anything like that. In Florida, if you help in the commission of a crime or you help cover up after the fact, you get charged with the actual crime, and we've gone over that in the statute. So I think there are first degree murder charges coming for Jennifer Soto. That's what I believe. That's my opinion from everything I've come to understand about this case. What do you think, unknown caller?
Well, I think you might be right. Like I said, it's just kind of trifling and disturbing to me at this time that, like I said, she's still out there. Obviously, might not be a flight risk. I think she's maybe not the brightest person in the world, and she does have some mental health conditions that do kind of make me worry that before they are able to bring her up on charges, is something going to happen where she might unalive herself, or might lose access to that very important data point from both sides of the case, right? So I'm just kind of surprised at this point that they haven't brought her in, or at least kind of holding her. But like you said, if there's really no evidence tying her to that specific crime, I mean, it's kind of like your best friend going to kill somebody. That doesn't mean that you necessarily had anything to do with it. You just a good friend of somebody who might have unalived someone. So yeah, I find it, like I said, it's very interesting to me that it's taken so long to bring her up on charges, but hopefully they can, and if she's an accomplice or accessory to this crime, they can bring her to appropriate justice.
Yes. And I right now, with only Stephan being charged with first degree murder, I don't think that there has been justice for Madeline yet in just him being arrested. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's incomplete, right? I get a feeling of incompletion with it. That's the big thing, because I think that obviously, everybody knows that the allegedly he committed the committed the crime and he's, going to stand trial for it and that sort of thing. But I mean, the real kicker is to see if, Jennifer played a part in being an accessory to the crime or playing in any of the stages. Obviously, the cover up, if there was any cover up. So, yeah, it's that's kind of the cliffhanger with this whole thing is to see how she's involved, and if she's
Yes.
involved. I'll
Yes.
be surprised if she's not. She had to know. I mean, I think she would have had to know something. But you know what? Who knows? I mean, the way that whole relationship was kind of carrying on, you could just see the degradation of kind of her as a human being. Even some of those older videos that she was in, she looked different. She looked, I don't say better. She didn't look as troubled. Put it that way. And you could see as time went on, the videos, and the pictures, and that sort of thing. It kind of looked like her life kind of careened off a cliff a little bit. And again, this is all alleged speculation. I don't know
Right.
her personally, but just kind of from what I've seen. So that does kind of make me wonder if maybe she wasn't a willing accomplice to this whole thing and just kind of got caught up in it and was a fear for her own safety. So it's going to be a real cliffhanger of a case, but we know you'll bring us all the details on it, hopefully.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm invested in this case because I have a daughter and it, like man, I don't know what I would do. Like I don't know what I would do. Like just if someone hurt her, okay, if someone hurt my daughter and caused her death, I can promise you this, I wouldn't be sitting there cuddling and kissing on him and coddling him, while he's about
Yeah.
bawling crocodile tears, knowing darn good and well lying in the face of, media and newscasters and stuff about where she was and what had transpired. I mean, I would probably,
Yeah.
and forgive me for saying this if I'm wrong for saying it, but I might, there wouldn't be no need for a judge, jury, or an executioner. I would be all of that.
Yeah, it really was. It's diabolical when you look at it now. I mean, especially if they, just, I don't know. Like I said, it would be the biggest surprise of the year to hear that she wasn't somehow involved in any way. It just doesn't seem plausible to me. But again, we got to let the legal system play out and kind of see what happens.
I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. We have to let the legal system and play out. But if there aren't charges brought against Jennifer Soto, I think there's going to be a lot of unhappy people calling the prosecutor over this because by Florida statute, I mean, she lied and helped cover up what happened to her daughter. I mean, from everything the police have told us, we know that to be a fact now. So
Yeah.
if she isn't charged in this, I'm sorry to say it, but it's a gross miscarriage of justice for
Well,
Madeline.
Well,
according to her own
let me ask you
statements,
separately from this. What do you think of unknown callers? Do you think they should have some rights as well? Like they should be able to call in different YouTube programs and speak their mind. I think because some unknown callers,
absolutely.
they might have really something to offer, and they kind of get I don't know, kind of put down because they don't have their own listed number and that sort of thing. That kind of bugs me a little bit. I
Well,
guess we're into that category sometimes.
I think that everyone has a right to their privacy, and as long as people are willing to be cordial and come on the show and speak about what the topic of the case and stuff, the discussion on the show, I think you have every right to have a voice and an opinion, and I will always answer your call.
Well, I
I,
appreciate it. It's always good to have a voice in the community, a true voice. I thank you so much.
I thank you too. Thank you for calling. Great call, by the way.
thank
Great
you.
perspectives, and I appreciate you so much. Um,
Sure thing. I just try to keep an open-minded perspective. That's kind of my thing. Just try to keep an open mind, and hopefully everything will work itself out with this case.
I'm praying it does.
Agreed.
I'm praying for justice. Yes, Crystal said agreed.
And thank
We're
you for
praying for
calling.
justice for Madeline. Yes. Thank you so much, unknown caller, for calling. And I look
Okay,
forward to
thank
you
you.
calling again.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a
Bye-bye.
blessed day. Bye.
You too.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
So
I
what
think
an awesome
people,
call.
oh, absolutely. And I just wanted to make a comment about the unknown caller thing. Yeah, I believe people, have that they don't have to put their number out there. They have, you know, that's why we have call-in shows. That's why people don't particularly want the world to know who they are, you know? So, yeah, privacy. Call in. I think you had fabulous, fabulous things to say, and I appreciate you taking the time to call in and sharing with us because this is a crazy case.
Yes. And I have a call to make real quick. Paige, I was trying to hold my other call. I don't know what happened, how it put you on hold. I was trying to hold the other call. I haven't got the software figured out quite yet, but I'm calling you back because I was really into what you were talking saying. So I didn't mean to. Let's see if we can get her back on the line. Oh,
Hello.
well, hello, Paige. I'm so
Hi.
I'm so sorry about that. I was trying to
Oh,
hold
you're good.
his call. And what a great call that was. But I was trying to hold his call, and evidently I hit the wrong call hold button, and it put you on hold instead. Still learning how to use this. I apologize for that. For some of this, I'm still
You're
learning.
good. I was talking and it was like started playing elevator music and I was like, okay.
So back to what you were saying about the mother. Um, and we were discussing the time with the vehicle and stuff that he was seen. uh Back to what you were saying, what were you going to finish saying,
Yeah,
or
so
what were you
does
gonna
it okay, it says that they see him coming back, right?
right.
Um does it ever 'cause I can't remember since it's been so many weeks. Does it ever say like is it ever mentioned that they see him um coming no, it does never mention him coming that morning. Um does it ever mention like how do I want to put it? I just wonder, I'll put it
Eh,
this way. I just wonder if there's a camera pointed towards their condo or if it's just a camera on the gate, maybe coming in and out of the complex if they have a gate,
it
or if it's someone's ring camera.
So here's the thing. Now, if they have the actual video of Stefan leaving the complex, and it's actually a camera that is posted facing the gates.
Okay, so it is a gate. Okay.
I believe it is
So
a
then,
security camera.
okay, that would make sense. So then I wonder why they never mentioned what time he got there that morning, or if we're just missing it and we're missing that he actually stayed there and they're lying. Because why wouldn't they mention that? I mean, that would be something that's like a big thing to me. If I'm like, oh, okay, he showed up there that morning that early to take her to school, like that's weird. Why wouldn't her mom just take her? Why would he have to come that early in the morning? But if he stayed the night there, like I wonder if that's why that it's never mentioned because he was actually there all night.
Well, we know from the sworn statements um, that Madeline's mother said, and Stefan both said, that Jennifer Soto called Stefan to come take Madeline to school.
See, that in itself right there. Okay, so say that the only thing is, oh, sorry, my daughter's screaming. um, so the only thing I wonder with that is, okay, if he wouldn't have thrown the laptop and stuff out at what time was that? Like 7:30.
7:35. Yep.
I don't see the spider. Oh, I see it. Sorry, there's a spider.
Ooh, better you than me,
Now,
girlfriend.
obviously, we know she was already passed away by that time
Mm-hmm.
because what would be the need to throw it out? So That's just what makes me think, like, it only makes sense in my mind that it would be the mother who actually did something. Because if he arrives to the complex, which we're never given that time, but that would fill in a time gap, right? And we don't have that. We don't know what time he actually arrived.
We don't know what
But
time he departed
I would
the
say, I mean,
apartment.
the girl, she didn't even start school. What did they say? Like
9.
9:15 or something like that?
Uh-huh. Yep, 9 o'clock.
So why in the world would you call somebody to come take your daughter to school at 7 o'clock?
Very good question, Paige. Very good question. But again, that leads back to there's either a lie about Madeline being there. Like this video they have of Stefan is of Stefan coming back to the apartment complex.
Yeah.
That would have to insinuate that that Jennifer Soto knew what was going on and let Madeline stay the night with Stefan if he brought her to the apartment complex at 7:30 or during that time. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, did Madeline
Yeah.
stay the night at Stefan's house or did she stay the night at home?
Well,
And
then,
if
Well,
Jennifer did
honestly,
call Stefan at 7:30 or before 7:30, and we know that Madeline was no longer alive by 7:30, well, that puts Jennifer being the only one alone in that house with Madeline Soto whenever she died.
right. And it does kind of make sense, though. Like, that is a good point. So, okay, I don't know if you remember Stefan's friend that did an interview. He's done a couple interviews, and he was saying that Stefan was like living with his parents, and that's the car that he used that morning was actually his dad's. So, I don't think, to my knowledge, that he had his own place. I think he was living with his parents. So, but that is interesting though to think about because her party was that on Saturday or Sunday?
I
Sunday.
don't. Okay, it was on Sunday. Her party was because yes, because she was supposed to be going to school Monday morning. So
And
yes,
when
that
they
would have been
Right. Okay.
and
Sunday.
when they got home,
So the
remember, she
party's
went to bed.
Sunday, right? And the mom's not there because she has to work. I don't know who schedules a birthday party for their child when they know they have to work.
One that doesn't like her child.
So Stefan's the main parent, and I put that lightly there, Sunday. So how do we know if we don't know the time of death and we don't know that she ever came out of the apartment alive? How do we know that she didn't pass away earlier? But then again, like I said, it runs through my mind. If something happened that night, it's easier to conceal a body at nighttime. You're not going to wait till morning to do that.
Do you know what I
So,
think? I think that they were able to identify that Madeline Soto was no longer alive because the video evidence that they gathered from where it's showing the car in the gate. I think the evidence they have of Madeline shows her in the early stages of like Paler's mortis or something like that. I
yeah.
think
So,
I
I
think
mean,
you
there had
can
to be
tell,
something.
and that I know that's. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be morbid. I'm talking from an evidentiary standpoint, but I
From
think
it,
they have evidence that she was absolutely
but you
Right.
know what?
deceased at that time.
I think they have. Can I
Now, do
say
you think
something?
that it could be that they saw her in the back seat? And maybe that's why they were like, well, why would she be laying down in the back seat?
I think they
Mm.
have video of him bringing her out, wrapped up.
Because the
Crystal
only
said
reason,
Crystal
go
said
ahead.
she thinks Crystal said she thinks they have video of him bringing her out of the apartment
Because they knew
See,
she
but
died in the
wouldn't that
apartment
be more damning though?
to Jennifer.
because Jennifer's
That
in
if
there.
it well altogether, like if we knew for a fact that he carried her out as she's deceased, okay, then there's no question in my mind that they both 100% fact knew. But we only know that he came back with her in the car deceased. So that's in my other question. How did he get her into his car if she was deceased and you have all these people up for school and work and driving around, we're talking about like a condo complex, not a rural house.
Uh-huh. A gated
So,
community complex.
yeah. So how in the world did he get her out in his car deceased? I mean, unless he took the laptop and the phone and knew what he was going to do that day, and he threw them in the dumpster first, so that way when he was driving with her, they wouldn't be able to track where he was at. That could have been a forethought. I guess you could look at that as planning. But then again, why wouldn't you just leave it at home? See, none of this makes sense to me. Like, it just doesn't.
Well, I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you have. Let me see if I can find one real quick. I don't know if you've seen Jennifer Soto's apartment complex, but there's actually a long sidewalk you have to walk down. Like it's a side,
Like to get to the parking.
mm-hmm.
See, now how in the world do you carry a 13-year-old girl who probably weighs, let's say, 100 pounds, maybe not, somewhere in that ballpark, and no one noticed him carrying a person out? That doesn't make sense to me.
Have to do it under the
So
cover of
maybe,
dark, wouldn't you?
yeah, I mean, that's like, but then again, like I said, he could have got rid of the stuff knowing what he was going to do that day. But that was so stupid. I mean, and then he wiped his phone. Do we know what time he wiped his phone? Did they ever say a time?
He actually said that he wiped it the day she went missing by accident,
Yeah, it was the
remember?
day. Yeah. I just wonder if they can look and see, like, okay, he did that at 7 a.m. or 9 a.m. Because then that would show planning too. You know what I mean? If he did this, say, at like 6:30 a.m. But I still think that mom, I don't know. I still think the mom knows or did it, or she's an accomplice either way because she lied.
Exactly.
And I mean, how stupid do you sound? Yeah, I called him to take my kid to school at 7 in the morning, but she doesn't go till 9:15, whatever they said. And oh, we dropped her off. We dropped her off at the church at what, 8? What they say, what time that was, like 8 something in the morning. So 45 minutes before she had to go to school, you dropped her off out of church.
Right? Why?
That just doesn't make any sense. That's why this definitely wasn't planned. Whatever happened was not planned. But none of it makes sense. She's an accomplice either way in my eyes because she tried to fabricate a story. And if you look in the interviews, anytime she's talking, she always puts her eyes up, So like one way is like to your left is when you have your memory, like you're trying to remember a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when they're just like up and you're, everything you say, you're looking up, your brain is trying to compute like what you're going to say. So her eyes going like all over the place when they're asking her questions. It's like she doesn't know what she's going to say next. She doesn't remember what she's already said. But it's almost like they had this script put together. Because if you notice, they say like basically the same thing. So it's like they had this script put together before she was ever interviewed.
Absolutely.
To where, yeah, and it just seems so fake. It seems so fake. Like you would remember, oh my God, she was wearing down to the tennis shoes. You would remember exactly what your daughter was wearing. You would remember what she had for breakfast. That's like when you have a traumatic event like that happen, your brain remembers senses, smells, sometimes your brain can block it out, but most of the time we can say, hey, we were right here when this happened traumatic in my life. I remember how the sky looked blue at that time and the sun was coming up. You remember things. And it's like she was just a scripted, like she's reading from a teleprompter and just trying to think of what, and it's very emotionless and monotone. Like, I'm not saying you have to be hysterical, crying on the floor, but to just be sitting there like, and then comforting him. What? Oh my gosh. I don't
I
I
agree
don't
with
know.
you, Paige. Everything you're saying, I can't disagree anywhere. It's all true. Like what? You know? And obviously, I mean, Jennifer Soto herself puts her in that apartment at 8 o'clock, awake,
Mhm.
awake,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
means she was in that apartment awake with her daughter deceased.
And let's say we're all wrong, okay? Let's say that we're all completely wrong. She really called him innocently to come pick her up and take her to school, okay? And he walked out with her alive, and Jen really did see her. Let's just say that happened. The question still remains in my mind. Why the hell would you think it's normal for your kid to go to school 45 minutes early?
And
That
have them
doesn't
walk the rest of the way to school, might I
Yeah,
add.
yeah, I'm going to take you, but I'm going to drop you off at the church and let you sit there for 30 minutes, and then you got to walk the rest of the way. What? I mean, come on. It doesn't even make sense. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah,
Well,
I
going
agree.
What
off of
time did
Crystal,
she make the initial call? Oh, go ahead.
go ahead,
no,
Crystal.
I wanted to say to Paige something that she said that kind of makes sense to me now. One of the things that they said was she didn't want to be seen in Steven's car, well, or Stefan's car, whatever the hell his name is. But Paige pointed out that he was driving his father's car that morning. It wasn't even his car. So that had to have been a story between the two of them if Madeline was seen laying down because she was embarrassed. That was their
Oh,
whole thing. Remember, to
yeah.
drop her off at the church
Mm-hmm.
because she was embarrassed
Mm-hmm.
to be seen in his car. They said that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something really disturbing. Trigger warning, everyone. I seen the photo of Madeline, and y'all know which one I'm talking about, the crime scene photo.
Yeah, that
And
the sheriff accidentally posted.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
And to me, in that photo, you can tell that Madeline is in a semi-fetal position. Like her legs are bent and she's like she was sitting. You know what I'm saying? Like she was sitting up, or I guess you could say laying on her side in that position. But to
Mm-hmm.
me, it looks like that rigor mortis set in while she was in a seated position. That's what the photo looks like to me. And it's hard to make out because of the grass and stuff that was used to cover her in the photo,
Mm-hmm.
but you can still see her outline. Okay. And you
Right.
can see the back pocket of her jeans and all of that in the photo. So I have to I don't know if she was necessarily put, in the back seat laying down because they wouldn't have
Looks like
captured
it's sitting
enough.
up.
Yeah, I don't think they would have captured enough in that video because they
Mm-hmm.
said in that video at 8:19 that they knew that Madeline was deceased in that photo and in that
Right.
video.
But that leads back to
That's
what
what I
I
wonder
said
if they
too.
had her sitting up front passenger side, like trying to play it off like she was alive.
That's exactly what I think. That is
But he
exactly what I think. I think he put her in there and buckled her in and maybe leaned her head again and the trigger warning, you guys, trigger warning. This is a hard topic. But I think that he went ahead and leaned her head over against the glass like she was just because remember he said that she slept most of the way to school.
Mhm. That was his cover up.
Hmm.
But even then, though, that doesn't
saying she
line
was
up with the
sleeping because
timeline.
he knew she was slumped over. Well, it's like,
It,
for example, like you were talking about rigor mortis. Um, you have, okay, for example, like Shanann Watts. She was found in her grave in a fetal position, which tells me she was laying in a fetal position when she was, finally put in there. So, same thing. I mean, if Madeline was in, like a sitting type of position, then I would say she had been like that, for a little while. So, who knows how long this weirdo was just driving along. And the only thing was is that he got that flat tire, and thank God for that, because he ended up having to put her right there, which was a terrible spot, thank God.
Awful.
And she was found pretty quickly, because who knows how far he would have went. He had all day. That friend of his said that he hardly ever worked.
That flat tire is what got him.
Yep. And if that
I
ain't
think he took her out of the car and hit her where he hit her because he was afraid someone was going to pull over and offer him help with that flat.
exactly. He had to get her out of the car. Had to. He
Had
could
to.
not keep her in that car, because if a cop will pull over when they see you on the side of the road and they'll try to help you,
Mm-hmm.
and he would have had her in the car.
see,
Mm-hmm.
I
So he
think
had to get rid of her quick once he was like, oh shit, I got a flat tire.
Yep, I agree with that. Absolutely, Paige.
It's just sickening. I would just love to know, like, from day one, my question was, okay, is there video of her walking out? Is there video of her coming out of this apartment alive?
Well, they say that, the cops have already said that she died in the early morning hours, which tells me it's impossible for there to be a video of her walking out of that apartment alive.
So then I
exactly.
wonder, because the cops know the time of death, right? The medical examiner is going to be able to know, did she have food in her stomach? Did she eat breakfast that morning? All that kind of stuff. So
They will be able to approximate her death within 12 hours. And I think that's the best that they're going to be able to do. And I think
So
that's
they should
also why
know.
the indictment says February the 25th to the 27th. Because that's
Oh,
what the
yeah.
medical examiner's report is reflecting, that she died either the 25th, 26th, or 27th.
Now,
I could be wrong about that.
well,
Well,
the
no,
only way.
that probable cause affidavit says the 25th to the 27th because they said this is premeditated homicide. Which
See, that's what I
means
don't.
that
They gotta
was
know
during the course of
something.
planning.
Yeah, that means that there's something else big that we haven't been told, because, and maybe it could have been on his phone. Maybe, I hate to even get in this topic, and I don't even, makes me cringe, but, sex offenders, when it comes to children, you know what I'm talking about, nasties,
Mm-hmm.
they tend to find a group. You see what I'm saying? They
Mm-hmm.
tend to
Find rings to exchange information
yes.
and smut nastiness.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, and this is just a theory, it's just me thinking off the top of my head, if they say that it's premeditated, then that tells me there was probably something on his cell phone. Maybe he was talking to his little nasty friends. I mean, I don't know. They do all kinds of stuff. They do like the films, like the yeah.
Here's what
I
I
think
think.
everyone
I
gets my
think
gist.
there is a huge investigation going on with him and a group of people now.
Yeah, so do I. It has to be.
A big federal case, more than likely. Wyatt Harris, thank you so much. And congratulations to the person that was gifted the membership. Welcome to the Crime Chatters. It's a blessing to have you here. Hello.
Hi,
Help
Coco.
a lot.
Hey, Kel.
Hello, ladies.
We got Kill with us now, Paige.
Good to
Oh,
have
hey,
you.
girl.
Yes, it's wonderful to have her. It's wonderful to have all of y'all here all the time and to have callers, have you guys call in. I just love hearing the different opinions and the different ideas and the different questions of everyone. It's amazing. Um,
Yeah, I like bouncing ideas. Sorry if anyone on panel's talking since I can't hear them. So I don't want anyone to think I'm interrupting them.
You're good.
um, but I love that everybody can bounce ideas off each other. You may pick up things that I don't pick up. Crystal picks up things that I don't pick up. And so it helps us connect to make a story. You know what I'm saying? To make sense of a story. Um, and then we can put our ideas together and bounce them off of each other. And I could be wrong about something. And you could be like, no, the PCA says 8:15 a.m. And I'd be like, oh, I need to change my thinking then.
Exactly. That's how I feel
well,
about it too.
Crystal said exactly that's how she feels about it too. And here's the whole thing though. If we listen to what the police have told us and we coordinate that with what Jennifer and Stefan have said, okay, Jennifer Soto was the only person in that house with Madeline whenever she no longer ceased to live. She
Yep.
no longer was no longer living.
Her own statements put her there. Her own statements put her in.
And uh-huh. Crystal said her own statements put her in that house. But here's the thing, law enforcement told us she died in the early morning hours. Early morning hours.
Yeah.
That to me says it was before daylight.
That's what I was going to say. I don't know what everyone considers early morning, but to me, that's like usually before 7 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Very early morning, 4 a.m. on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I take it from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. is what I consider, or to 6 a.m. is what I consider early morning hours. Like genuinely early morning hours. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I guess that is, that can be reflected on opinion to each individual. But at the same time, early morning hours. To me, that always
And
says
you know,
before dawn. Like for some reason, always before dawn.
right. Yeah. And she can't even say I was asleep or I called him and then I continued getting ready for work and I didn't come out of my room or I was in bed. She can't even say any of that because she said, oh yeah, I saw her alive at 8 o'clock. So she implicates herself. If you listen
Absolutely,
to her
because
talk.
we know she was no longer living at 8:19.
Mhm.
I
And what
firmly
time did it
believe.
say? Okay, that's when he returned, was 8:19.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
they
wonder
have.
why they don't say what time he left. That's what I want to know. When did he leave with her in the car? What time was that?
We don't know that. They haven't made that information public. They're keeping a
Yeah.
lot. They really are. They're keeping a
Yeah.
lot under wraps. Now, here's an interesting one for you. So, federal law says that no person. Oh, hold on, just a second. Okay, never mind. Federal law says that no person under the supervision or under the authority of a doctor who is in a care facility under the direct uh what's it called I'm having a brain patootie.
Like supervision, under supervision of
It's whenever you're a patient
another
under
department.
doctors, whenever you're under the care of a physician in a facility, okay, with immediate care for things like, and I can't say the word, but unaliving oneself, if you're on an unaliving watch or something like
Yeah.
that, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mhm.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
can They cannot. Now they can file for an arrest warrant, but they cannot remove you from that facility under the doctor's care legally. And it
Right.
has been
Right.
speculated. It has been speculated and alleged that Jennifer Soto is under that kind of care of a doctor.
Currently, still.
It's possible. As long as she has a doctor believing that she is a threat to herself or others, they can't remove her. The doctor won't just, doctor won't release her. And until the doctor releases her, if she is in a facility like that, they can't legally take her into custody. They can, however, file the arrest warrant. They just
Right.
can't take her into custody. They
She
cannot
could be
remove
in.
her from the facility.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Exactly.
And that raises another question. I didn't get to watch, but this could kind of corroborate that. I didn't get to watch the dad's interview. Excuse me. Did he say that Jen personally gave him Madeline's ashes?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm
No, no, no,
wondering
no.
if she's
No, no,
still.
no. She did not. No, 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 no. No, no, no. She did not hand him the ashes. She had her attorney release her ashes to the father.
Okay, so there you go. She could still be in a facility.
Yes. Jennifer Soto's attorney released the ashes to the father under Jennifer's advising request.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I mean, that could definitely be that she's still in a facility, and maybe that's why she didn't keep her ashes
Mm-hmm.
and wanted to give them to the father.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, Crystal does make sense when she says, she didn't even want her in death. She didn't want to keep her around. But it could be two things at once too,
Mm-hmm.
But supposedly she's with the sister, right?
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know either. But I do know that Jennifer Soto and the sister got $16,000 through donations from GoFundMe.
Uh-huh.
And a cremation in Florida cost about $600.
Right. And there was no well, I don't know if there was. Did they say
And
that there was
the
a
funeral
memorial?
home, hold on a second, the funeral home actually footed the bill for the cremation and for the services for Madeline Soto. And
So
the
they
GoFundMe
pocketed.
money, yes, they pocketed $16,000 under the ruse
Oh.
of needing the money to cover Madeline's final expenses, her funeral and stuff.
Well, she should be made to pay back every single person.
Every single person. Every single person. Like
Because
I'm not gonna lie.
people gave you that in good faith and you just took it and did whatever you're doing with it.
Exactly.
She
Well,
dirty earned it. That's what she did. It's called a
let me tell
dirty
you something
earning.
else. Let me tell you something else. After the GoFundMe is whenever Jennifer Soto had the funds to hire an attorney.
Oh. Okay, so all those people paid for her attorney.
Yes,
Huh.
allegedly.
Well, that's a
Allegedly.
slap in the face.
Isn't it though? I feel like it's wrong, which I can't, speak for everyone else. But there's a reason I don't give money to GoFundMe's anymore, and this is one of them. I don't sponsor
Yeah.
them or anything like that. Like if the person, like with Seth Rogers, man, in a heartbeat, in a heartbeat, you know what I mean? To give that man money to help cover his expenses while he's out here looking for his son every day, in a heartbeat. But there's a reason I don't give to GoFundMe's. I'd rather give directly to a Cash App or something like that,
Right.
and it be for a specific thing. But I mean, Jennifer Soto, you know, she never, I mean, yeah, Jennifer Soto, she never helped look for Madeline. She never looked for Madeline. You know what I mean? Like, and that's
No,
very telling. That's very telling. That's very
Never
telling when a
shed a
parent
tear. Never said
never
I
shed a
love
tear.
you.
Nope.
sure is.
Never asked the
Cold.
alleged kidnappers. Remember, she thought she was kidnapped.
Yep.
She
Somebody
Yeah.
took
never,
her. She
yep,
said somebody took her. That's what she
And you
said.
yep.
remember her mentioning we have video of her in the church parking lot.
Hmm.
Her sister is the one that actually got that alleged footage of Madeline, but it turns out it it wasn't. And it
That's
was so
why,
staticky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
and that's why when
Okay.
she
Because
was
I was about to
in that
say,
interview,
okay, well, that doesn't even make sense either. So, I mean, she's even lying about that.
Yes. She's lied about everything. Like
All
that's
lies.
the reason that's the reason I had that one episode of Who's the Biggest Liar? Stephan Sterns or Jennifer Soto.
I still say
But
Jen.
And I'm sorry to say this,
I say Jen.
I don't have much
Crystal
faith
says, oh,
that,
Kel says Jen.
We both do.
Yeah, Kel and Crystal both say Jen. Jen's the biggest liar.
yeah, I don't have much faith that charges will be brought against her necessarily because if you look at poor little Audrey and they had old Nasty living with them or on their property,
Uh-huh.
and it's not hard to look up somebody's past. And if somebody's watching your kid, first of all, I don't think a grown man should be watching a little girl anyway.
Ever.
Secondly, it's not that hard to look up somebody's past, especially that's going to be around your child and living on your property. I don't care how long you've been friends with them.
Right.
But look, I mean, nothing ever happened to that dad or that grandma. There was no charges brought against them for having him living there, which I think is totally neglectful. And some people may not agree, and that's fine. But I don't know. I know it's two different states, but I don't know if I just kind of blows my mind sometimes the things people get away with.
Mm-hmm.
Mine too. But I don't think Jennifer Soto's getting away with this. I don't.
I think
I
it's
hope not.
possible that unknown caller was
I think
correct
everybody
when
has that
this.
feeling that she knows or did something.
Crystal, what did you say?
I said I think I agree with the unknown caller when he said that they could possibly be giving her a sweetheart deal and not indicting her for the purpose of they don't want her to kill herself or anything. Whoops. Um, because they need her as a witness, possibly. I mean, that's a really good. I mean, he had a really. That was a good thought. I hadn't even thought of that. So I'm like, maybe they
No.
are giving her a sweetheart deal. Not that she won't do time, but prolonging it. I mean, it's a possibility.
How can they give her a deal when there haven't even been charges brought against her?
Well, again, if she testifies against him, she
There
wouldn't
you
have
go.
to face charges. They'd make a sweetheart deal. And they'd
I don't
probably deal with her after. I don't know. What, Coco?
I don't think they're going to give either one of them deals. I think they're just compiling all their evidence. I think there's a lot involved because of all the things with Stefan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I hope to God they don't give either one of them a deal. I think they're both complicit,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of who actually, committed the crime. They're both. I my opinion. I think it was at the hands of her mother, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I'm like you. I'll apologize if I'm out of line in saying it. That's just my feeling about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you guys, I have some breaking news. The fifth person in the Oklahoma mom's case, Paul Grice, has just been arrested.
Ooh. Where are you
Interesting.
Wow.
at?
Was that just today?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I still think there'll be more that are involved with that.
And he
And
was he was going to be the supposed hit person or whatever, right? Is that what we were?
Is anybody on panel talking?
Yes, yes, Paige, that's exactly what's going on. I'm sorry. Everyone's
Oh
talking
no,
on
you're
panel too.
We'll raise our hand.
next time I'll just hop on the StreamYard. But I will let y'all go. But I wanted to say that if Miss Brazy's in chat or Low or even Midwest, all of you are very smart and you should call and say what you think also, because all you ladies have great ideas and I love hearing them.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Hey,
I couldn't agree more.
Agree.
I'm surrounded by one of the smartest groups of women I've ever met in my life, and dedicated and honest. Like I'm so blessed to be a part of y'all, to let me be a part of y'all is the truth. I'm blessed. So thank you.
And we're happy to be here and I enjoy it. And I'm glad, we all get to talk and go over these things and share our passions for true crime.
And shining a little bit of understanding, I think, you know, to the different side, to the different angles of it, you know. Oh, Coco, fell out for a second there, but she's back. Um, so Paige, well, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and let you go and see if anybody else wants to call in then. But
Yeah, guys, call in. Lo, you are awesome. Call in. I know you will make a great caller. You are super smart, and all you other ladies also. So I will now be in chat.
well, thank you for calling in,
I'll be in
Paige.
there, and I'll listen to panel.
Crystal said thank you so much for calling in, Paige.
Great call, Paige.
Thanks for having me. I'll see
Kel said
y'all.
great call, Paige, and I'm saying great call too. It's a pleasure having you.
Thanks, girl. Thanks. I'll be in chat.
I'll see you in chat. Love. Bye.
All right, bye.
Oh, almost left the studio myself by accident. Almost hit the wrong button. Can you guys hear me?
I can.
We can hear you.
Okay. Well, Kel, it's good to have you up on panel. So, what's going on in your mind? I know we've all been, gobbing back and forth about this for over 2.5 hours. Um, wow. But what's your take on this?
Sorry, I was finishing making dinner. I was in chat, but I just couldn't navigate to be on panel. Um, Gosh, where do we even begin? You all make great points. I don't think there was anything that anybody said that I didn't agree with. Um, we all have this idea of how we think it happened. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't happen. When I hear early morning, I think 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, like early morning. I mean, I get up early and that's like 5 or 6. And to me, that's just morning. Early morning, I don't know. I think earlier than that. So I think it could have happened overnight. Um, Everything with Jen has been lies. I Once you start lying about little details, I don't think any of your your statements are credible anymore. She lied. I think she lies about things she doesn't need to because she can't keep it all straight. The only thing that I've been confused about is when he came. If he took that backpack at 7:30 in the morning, uh, how how early was he there? Was he there when it happened? I'm still kind of going back and forth with that. But I, do we even know if he truthfully was anyplace else? I know that they said he didn't live there, but was he spending the night? I mean, do we know factually what time he pulled in or pulled out of that apartment complex?
No. Nope. We don't. We don't know if he
We
left and
don't.
if he did, what time,
But
and if
maybe the
he.
cops know. Maybe they have it on video. Although
Right.
I'm like you, I think they would have charged somebody by now. I don't understand what the delay in charging them is.
I
Other
I
than
really I really think it's because Jen hid from the cameras myself.
You think that they hid from the cameras?
Well, she did, and she didn't use her. She used her phone, so she was at home. And if they don't have her leaving, I mean, it's hard to prove that she was involved in anything, I guess.
Well, I won't quote any names of any other cases, but I do feel like that's the perfect alibi to leave your phone somewhere, call somebody, and just have your phone going for X amount of time. It gives you a location, it gives the other person the alibi. I don't think that's that unheard of to do that. I think people all know now when you're committing a crime, although surprisingly, some people still take their phones when they commit crimes, but um, I think it does provide an alibi for you. So
Well,
that's very possible.
it'll be, I'm curious to find out how much contact they had after he left with Madeline before and she was gone. Like, how much contact did they have during that day? Was it more than what they normally have? Was she blowing up his phone? I'm just curious about that. So, but we won't know that
O
for a while.
Obviously, we need the timeline from the birthday party too. Like Lo said in, chat before, who was at this birthday party? Jen supposedly wasn't. Um, it was her mom throwing the party? The grandma? Is that
I
what
can't
everybody
wait.
thought?
I can't wait for the probable cause affidavit.
Right. We just need more of a timeline of what happened in those 24 hours, and then I think it'll
Mhm.
make more sense. I think we have pieces of the puzzle, but there's just a couple pieces that aren't connecting completely. I guess I think that they're both involved to some degree, obviously. But once we know that, we'll know better about who actually did it, because I do think it happened at the home. I don't think it happened in the car. I think she was deceased when, she was put in the car.
Which I'm hoping they have video of that.
And
And
like
with a,
Lo said, divine
whoops,
intervention that he would have that flat tire. I'm sorry, Crystal. Divine intervention that he would get that flat tire, because God knows where he was taking her, that he left her there.
yeah.
You don't think so?
What? The divine and where he put her? The
Yeah, I mean, from the
See,
flat tire.
yeah, I mean, originally I thought that it was a ruse for him so he could go and put her where he put her, not so much that he actually had a flat tire. Because
That's that's true.
he's kind of, I mean, I don't hate to say it, but he's an idiot. I mean, they're both idiots, in my opinion. Because here he is on video throwing out her laptop. Um, she's saying that she saw her at breakfast, and then he's seen coming in and out. They have to have more video. I think the video and the phones will be the ultimate. I think the phones are what they're going to follow, and they're probably trying to get every text message, everything. Because you want to know if they talked a lot during the day on a normal basis, or did they talk at all? I mean, all of that is pretty important.
Right.
I
No,
agree.
that could be too. I agree. This case is definitely different.
Oh, it's so aggravating and irritating because, once again, I'm a firm believer there are people that should not have children. Period. They don't know anything and about, and it's kind of selfish because I feel like if you don't want children and you just don't have that empathy or that devotion or even love inside of you, and you know it, because we all truly know who we are. We all know what's inside of all of us. And if you know that you just don't have that kind of love for anything or anyone, why would you bring a child into to what, make you look to play a part so you can fit in? But she
Because
clearly did not.
irresponsible people, because irresponsible people are irresponsible people, whether they want kids or not.
But I think it's a selfish decision
Exactly. Very, very selfish.
because I mean, if you, I don't know, there's so many people out there that want children, and they would love a child to do those things with. And here we have this. I don't know what to call this anymore because I don't call her a mother.
Well, hello, Aussie. It's so good to see you. Welcome, beautiful. It's good to see you again.
She was more like a vessel to bring Madeline into the world, but she showed her no nurturing, no guidance, no love from what we've seen, just in her own statements, her own mannerisms.
I need more convincing that she didn't know about what was going on. I'm not even there yet.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
100 personally, I'm 100% convinced that she was there with Madeline in that home and knew Madeline was deceased. Personally, I think that she is likely the one that ended Madeline's life, just in what the police, just with the actual police timeline and what she said in her own sworn statements. She put herself in that house with Madeline, if you compare it to the police timeline with her own sworn statements. So I'm convinced, regardless of who of the two did the deed, one of them is just as guilty as the other, and they both should be held accountable for this tragic end. And you guys, this is a tragic end to a little girl's life. This is the very definition of tragedy. Snuffing the life out of a child.
He knocked the life out of that child the day he walked into her life. It just took 5 years to come to for I can't even say the word for come to reality that she's gone. But he killed her soul. He broke her. He took her innocence, and
She had no normal relationship dynamic. She didn't know what it was with your mom, with your mom's boyfriend, dad, stepdad, her other parent lived in another state. I just it breaks my heart to even think. Her her childhood was definitely robbed
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
her
long
childhood was
before
robbed.
this.
Hmm. I
mm,
agree.
yeah,
But she still had the opportunity to overcome it. I mean, we've
Right,
all
oh
overcome
yeah,
things
right.
and become productive members of society or
oh
loving
absolutely.
parents. I mean, anything's overcomable. I feel like she never had that chance to even overcome all of this. Like,
What I would like to hear what people that have like known Jen, because we've heard from people that knew Steven, but I would like to know about her previously, like pre Madeline, during Madeline. Was there any like how she acted as a teenager? Was she quiet? Was she rambunctious? All of those things. Because I
Well,
just don't. I
well,
feel like
hello,
she's dry.
Funky just Sunky.
well,
It's so good
remember
to see you.
remember unknown caller what he said, that when you see the previous pictures of her, she had makeup on, her hair was done, she looked
Yeah,
more put together. Now, and I mean, granted, when this happened, that's tragic and traumatic, but you could tell that she wasn't as well kept.
yeah.
So maybe the situation was getting completely volatile,
Oh.
and I don't know. That's what I need to know more about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what her knowledge was, and then I think it still would leave me thinking that she's responsible, but I I think that's a big missing part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well, I
because
expect charges to come. I really do. I'm waiting for them.
Right.
she's just so flat. There's just no emotion, no anger. I mean, no
She seems nervous to
happiness.
me. She seems
n-
nervous.
Nothing. There's just like, and there's just like this emptiness. When I look at her, I just see empty, like void of human emotion,
You mean
true
like a
human emotion.
so allegedly what you're, if I'm not mistaken here, saying she's possibly a sociopath?
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
the one thing you learn about these cases after watching so many is that they can still appear sad and not be sad that the person's gone. They could be sad
right.
they're getting caught. They could be sad that, their life's over. Like it's all about interpreting what kind of sadness it is. I didn't I saw more sadness from him than I did from her, which is disturbing.
I just didn't see any connection to from her to Madeline at
Right.
all. I don't understand it. I just don't. I
I
mean, I
don't
don't.
I
I can.
don't know. Real quick. I don't know. I've never heard of Anzac Day, Aussie, but happy Anzac Day.
Oh, happy Anzac Day. I don't know what
Me
it is
too.
either. I'll
I
look it
can't
up after
pronounce that,
though.
but say happy from me too. Oh, I'm saying it. We're
You're
saying it.
You're
saying it too.
saying it.
Oh my goodness! I thought
You're
she was on the
live.
phone.
You are live on the air.
Okay. Well, what is it again? I'll try to pronounce it.
Anzac Day, if I'm saying it right. Anzac
A-
Day, Anzac Day.
Anzac Day. Happy Anzac Day to you. I hope you had a beautiful day, and thank you for
Yes,
coming to join us on this day of celebration.
yes. I'm gonna have to look that up too, and probably the Google enunciation for it as well,
Well, I'd be willing to bet
or
she'd just tell us.
pronunciation.
Yeah, or Paige, come back in and tell us what that is.
Yeah,
Because
because
I'm like
now
you,
we're all.
Crystal. I'm not taking the chance of leaving because I know I'm gonna
Oh yeah,
fall
it's
off.
tough.
Hmm.
Well, I had to shut my phone was hot because I'd been on the phone with Regina for a while before we went live, and I was in the car. I wasn't driving, I was a passenger. Um, but it just like I think it was overheating. I don't know because when it was starting to go wonky, I touched it. I was like, "Oh my, what did I put this on?" Because it was hot. So yeah, and I just don't dare leave anymore. Once I'm here, I'm here.
Yeah.
So
Otherwise, we'll have two of you too. I've done that before too.
mm-hmm. It's
Yep.
takes some getting used to for sure. And it's windy here today. It's super windy, so that's making the internet go all funky. But before I came back, I put it off and I'm just going on my data. So,
So, Regina,
Yes.
they said August. Do we know a specific date, or is that still to come?
I'm gonna have to look that up. Give me a second. Let me see if I can look that up.
I I read it real quick, but I was busy earlier, so I didn't actually watch. I just saw that he didn't show up, so I didn't. That's why I was asking earlier if he was by Zoom or if it was just the lawyers, or. And then I heard it was moved till August, so I wasn't sure why they did that, but obviously it was just
He
continued.
Hold on, I'm fixing to look at it right now, and I'll tell you the date. I've got it pulled up. Um,
Thanks. I just didn't know if I missed it.
uh, a pretrial hearing was set for July the 10th. His legal team left the courtroom without answering questions. Hold on a second. Let me look a little deeper here. Nope, I'm not finding it.
well, now that he's indicted, won't that change anyway for the murder charges? That August hearing probably won't happen anyway.
No,
Right.
this is saying, I'll read it to you real quick. I'll share it. Let me share it.
Good, because I'm
One.
kind of confused.
All right, I have to invoice.
Because that's what he was seen for this morning was the 60 charges, and
Okay.
then they pushed it off, and then they came back this afternoon and added the indictment for murder.
Okay. See,
Um,
that's where I'm missing it. So it's two separate things.
right.
So that's why I'm confused. Because when I read it this
So,
morning, it said that that was moved to August, but I didn't hear about the indictment of the murder charges until, or the unaliving charges until you guys mentioned it.
So I
Right.
have the Osceola News Gazette pulled up, which is a local newspaper. They're out of Kissimmee, Osceola County.
Right.
And it says Stephan Sterns absent from court appearance, trial date pushed back. And this is on his 60 charges. So I'll read this real quick. It says, Stephan Sterns, the man charged with 60 felony counts that include SB on a child and possession of materials depicting acts performance of a child, and the main person of interest in the disappearance of death of 13-year-old Kissimmee girl Madeline Soto, did not appear in court Wednesday at a pre-trial hearing for his case. During the hearing, his defense entered a plea of not guilty on the 60 charges. Not guilty? His defense entered a plea of not guilty on the 60 charges. Huh. And asked for the trial on those who and asked for the trial on those charges to be continued. Circuit Court Judge Keith Karstens placed the trial on August 9th docket. On the August 9th docket. A pre-trial hearing was set for July 10th. So we got 3 months until we start getting discovery
And
and stuff, because that's what the pre-trial hearing is going to be about. A pre-trial
so
hearing. Oh, let
I
me
just
finish reading it real quick.
okay.
Let me finish. A pre-trial hearing was set forth for July 10th. His legal team left the courtroom without answering questions about the plea, what Stearns has shared with them, or anything else. They spoke of heading to another courtroom for another case. So go ahead, Crystal. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. I just want so both cases are capital charges. So he's looking at the outcome being the same. If they decide to go that avenue. Now, um where was I going with this? Ah, capital murder charges. Son of a biscuit. I forgot what I was gonna
Brain.
say.
You had a brain
Totally.
potato.
Yeah, I was there, and then it just like flew out. The capital murder charges now will. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Is this gonna like play out like another case that we've been following for like the last 18 months, where it's just pushed out and pushed out and pushed out?
Oh my gosh, same brain. That's exactly what I was thinking. I thought this is interesting that this case happened after we're already how many charges and we're already at this point, and the other one we're not even at
Mm-hmm.
pretrial.
Uh-huh.
We don't even have a court date. We're not even close.
Yeah.
Different states, different situations, but I was just
Right.
thinking the exact same thing. It was so funny. I thought, "Oh my gosh, we'll be there before we probably even are at the other one."
Oh, I hope your arm starts feeling better.
Well, this case is a lot. It's a lot.
Almost too much. It's too much. It really is. But
Um,
I think in piecing it together between what the law enforcement have told us, and then just again today, they said, you know, that Stefan is not the only person, you know, they're investigating. Just
Right.
today they reaffirmed that.
Right. And they didn't clear anybody.
They didn't clear anybody. No one. They refused to clear anyone else,
And
which tells me,
they specifically said that the 60 charges, previous charges, involved only him.
yep.
so now Regina, with
Yes.
maybe you know this. If in an SA case, when there's involving an adult and a child or whatever, if somebody
Mhm.
else was there to witness, or I'm not necessarily saying participate. I don't even want to think ideas like that, but I mean involved in the investigations,
In the state of Florida, they
if
would
they
be
don't
charged
commit
with
the
the same
crime.
crime as the person that was committing it.
Okay.
There is no such thing as accessory in Florida.
No, not accessory. SA.
No, I know, but listen to what I'm
Oh,
telling you.
oh,
Whatever the
gotcha. Sorry.
what I'm
I thought
saying
you
is,
thought.
well, I guess it technically, some would call it accessory, but in Florida, accessory is not only does the person that actually committed the crime that you helped participate in during, before, or after the crime, but you get charged with the crime as well.
So
Sorry. I think that's when I was cooking. Sorry. I was like in and out before. And I think that's probably when you were going over all that. So thank you.
that could be
Yeah.
a tidbit of information then. So what they could be saying without saying, because I think that you have to read between the lines sometimes and
Right.
look at word choice or which word they choose not to use. So when he said um, the 60 charges are only involving him, by saying that, that puts her still on the table for the other charge, but
But not
it's
knowing about that.
right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Good, good thinking. See? Collective minds.
I
That's smart.
know.
That's really smart. Yeah. I I wasn't sure how it went in Florida if because that is interesting because for sure they know that that took place. They have, proof of it. Um, I mean, the rest obviously they're figuring out, but no, that's a good point. I still don't know if I believe it though. Is that terrible? I
Just
just
hold on a
I
second, you
mean,
guys. Give me 1 second.
okay.
Jasunki and Willat, I just want you to both know that I'll remember you in my prayers today, and your
Aw.
son too, Jasunki. I'm so sorry. That's awful. I've had bacterial pneumonia. I was hospitalized for it, and that is nasty stuff, man.
oh, I hope that he feels better.
Sorry guys.
So I'm praying for you guys. I just want
You
y'all to know
two,
that I'm praying for your healing.
yeah, both
Okay,
of
sorry,
them.
ladies. I didn't mean to interrupt. I wanted to address them because I
No,
care about you guys and
no, yeah, we of course too. Our gentleman, our male moderator and our other good friend. Um, no, I still I don't I know that it can go on. I get it. And I know people in the past, years ago, a lot of parents probably didn't know that things were occurring and whatever. But in this day and age for years, I don't know. I need better proof of this. Even them
But
not
see,
charging her.
but the other token with that though is I can see her not knowing, like as much as I can see her being front seat and knowing it was happening and doing nothing. I can also see her not knowing because, once again, she didn't have a relationship with Madeline. So she didn't care what was going on with her. I think she only started to care when she started to figure it out and Madeline became her competition.
I was just gonna say that. Okay, maybe she didn't care about her, but I
Right.
believe she would care about him and what
Mm-hmm.
he was doing. When somebody's an absent parent, a lot of the times I feel that they are more involved with their other or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Um,
Right.
so even her being, not the greatest mom, I still feel like, how did she not know, like, he had the issues he had?
Unless
well,
he could.
I can't prove one
I
way
know
or
I don't want to get you
another.
graphic. I don't want to get you graphic with this. I'm just trying to
Like,
be
Right.
PG
but
here.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't think they have any evidence of that, or they would have said today that Stephan Sterns, you know,
True. That's what it comes
wasn't
down
the
to,
only
is
one
the
charged
evidence.
with that. But
Right.
here's
Right.
I
the
agree.
thing. What we do know is that in some shape, form, or fashion, Jennifer Soto lied about Madeline's death, lied about Madeline being alive, puts herself in the apartment whenever Madeline was unalived, murdered, tragically and ruthlessly, obviously, without anyone caring. I mean, they dumped her on the side of the road like she was nothing,
Right.
um, and threw grass over her poor little body. You know what I mean? So I think that the ultimate conclusion that we have to come to is, regardless of the only thing that, Stefan is charged with, Jennifer Soto actively knew, helped cover up, or took part in Madeline's death. And that is what I think that we actually can prove.
And you know what, with this one too, I think we always want more evidence. We're always like, if they would tell us this, if they would tell us that. This one has so much, it's almost overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
because it's hard to believe. It's hard to, like, there were no warning signs. And we're just in public looking at this, reading things and whatever. Family, nobody knew any of these things were going on. Like, it's hard. You almost wish that we didn't know all the things we know already, because that's why you're jumping to the conclusion sooner, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It
Like
does.
in other cases, we're waiting for opening statements to find out like details. This one,
Low,
we know all this took place. I'm sorry, Regina.
no, I was just wanting to say, low 12. You in Midwest, don't forget to put your Twitter up there so I can get it up on the screen too, so everybody can follow y'all as well. Because
Twiddle.
y'all cover a lot. Twiddle. I said twiddle, didn't I?
You did, but it was funny. It was okay. Twiddle.
Twiddle dee.
Twiddle me
My
this, twiddle
I'll
me that.
I'll
my
be twiddle
friend
dum. I'm
Elon
twiddle
probably
dum.
would get mad, but it's okay. It's a good name.
Twiddle, that's funny. He named it X.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He named it X. See, I don't even know him. I just
But
like
yet,
throwing
but
his
yet
name
it's
around.
but yet it's Twitter too, though. It's both. You
Right.
sign into X and then it says log into Twitter. It's like, okay. So I think
Exactly.
that's work.
It's confusing.
Right.
Oh my goodness, you guys, my eyes are hurting so bad I can't even hardly look at my screen anymore.
Well, we've been at
Well,
it for 3 hours,
I
so
think it was good to cover what took place today, and at least we're getting updates and there's some kind of information, and hopefully the next update will be something pertaining to her. Good or bad. I mean, just to kind of know what the situation is, because then I think it'll kind of put people's mind, where it's supposed to be.
More at
Because
ease. Right.
yeah,
right.
not knowing is, I mean, do we know, is she still institutionalized, or we don't know? I think you
Uh,
guys were talking about that
Well,
before,
we
but
don't even know that we were speculating on that because we don't
that was
actually
yeah.
know.
We don't know for sure. That's not fact that she was ever there.
oh,
So
never. Okay.
we don't know. I mean,
Right, and
um,
that's protected information if she is by HIPAA for any of the providers that are taking care of her. So, I
right.
mean,
True.
the only way that would get leaked out is if like her sister come out and said that or something. But there have been family members, I will say this, in the Facebook group, there have been people that are allegedly related to her saying, and people that were allegedly friends with her before all this saying that she has put herself in a facility. That is, out there in social media from allegedly people.
Okay,
So it's
Hmm.
gotcha.
not, I didn't just invent that off the top of my head, but
No,
um,
yeah, and I mean, to say that she, we don't know where she is, I mean, that would be more violating her HIPAA
Right.
rights than to just
exactly.
say she's
Well,
somewhere.
I can't violate her HIPAA rights or be charged with her a violation of her HIPAA rights because
Right.
I'm not her healthcare provider. And HIPAA laws
Exactly.
only provide to healthcare providers. I mean, they only apply to healthcare providers. I'm so tired I can't
Yes.
even think straight.
Well,
My
Thank you.
head been hurting
Thank
so
you a
bad.
lot, Harris. Everything is allegedly and speculation, in my honest opinion.
right. I I I think that I think they have an indictment. They probably already have an indictment to indict her. They're just waiting for her to walk her ass out of there, and so they can slap those nice shiny silver bracelets on her.
I'm sorry. Yes, Crystal. I didn't mean to laugh out loud. Black, you just got me. You just cracked me up. I'm sorry. He says I'm gonna have trouble.
Whoa.
I'm gonna have trouble diddling my twiddle now.
Oh my God.
He's so funny.
No Diddy.
No, you don't have to
So,
time yourself out now. What? You don't have to. That was actually pretty good.
Right.
I'll be here all week.
He sure will. Love and light.
I needed that little laugh. So, um,
Oh, Willette said he's going to give himself his own timeout.
no, don't be silly.
You're good, Willette.
no, don't be.
Willette's a character. We love Willette Harris. So, you said that the fifth person got arrested in with the Oklahoma moms. So we know that. Anything else new and different in the news today?
Yeah, that family that was taken out and, annihilated. And
Right. The one child is spared. Is that the one you're talking
yeah,
about?
that's
Yeah.
horrible. Like,
Horrible.
how does how does that keep happening? I mean, there's no warning signs. I just feel like maybe it's just me because I look for warning signs. I look for things that, just don't seem right. And so I ask people, "Are you okay? What's going
But
on?"
you're a caring person. Not everybody is anymore. People don't want to get involved. Just like we talked about with bringing it quicker to bring out their cameras and record something than they
Mhm.
are to actually initiate help. You're a caring person. You think like that. But yeah, there's always more to these stories, and probably quite a bit of it on social media. So it's just a matter of digging up what was going on and
Yeah.
um,
I mean, I feel so bad for the entire family and including his side of the family because
right.
they loved all of them, I'm sure. And you love your child, so they're dealing with their loss on top of the just enormous earth shattering thing that could have gone wrong and happened did happen. I mean, there's just no whew, that's a hard one. That's a
It just
really hard one.
Well, if nothing else, it should make you reach out to people. I think
Right.
when all these things happen, that's the first thing I think of is the people that are important to me in my life. And do they know, are they struggling? Is there something going on? Everybody has problems, but yeah, people just need to pay a little closer attention to each other. I think
Well,
everybody's
and
just so busy.
yeah, and everybody has their phones. So you don't have that line of communication and like talking and looking in someone's eyes. You're looking at a text that you can read, oh, like okay. Okay can be you're good, you're bad, you're not, you're
Well,
sarcastic,
texting made society so impersonal.
you
Texting
know,
is the most easily misconstrued communication there is. You
absolutely.
read it in your head the way you're interpreting it, but it might not at all be what they're saying.
E- Exactly.
That's I think what's lacking in our communication too.
Yeah, there's no emotional human contact. Like having conversations, looking at somebody, watching their mannerisms. I still do that. I do that all the time. I watch when people talk. I look at not just the words that are coming out of their mouths, but I like to watch their bodies because people have these ways of, describing things and they're describing themselves and they don't even understand that they're doing it. So it's just so natural for them.
And that's what we often I mean, how many of these cases that we've discussed on hours on end have we said that reactions just aren't natural? I hate to always like sound like a broken record, but you just think at you as a person, as a mom, as a wife, as a whoever, sister, daughter, all the different things we can be. And what you think you would react like. And then these people dealing with such tragic situations and it's not natural at all. Like
Well,
it's
if you look at cases and interviews with people in the past of parents that have committed crimes against their children and then lied about it, none of them showed real genuine emotion.
Mm-mm.
it's
None
funny.
of
We
them.
were just talking about this though.
But
The one that comes to my head is I think of Susan Smith. And I'm
yeah,
like, she was, uh, you know, almost believable in the beginning. And it's like, maybe
Oh
we've just
no.
gotten worse at it over time. Well, at least she showed emotion. These people aren't even showing emotion. All they talk
No,
about is everything that was wrong with their children, every medication they were on, every disorder they had. I mean, it's like, if it was my child, I'd be saying he's smart, he's funny, he's, like, I don't know. I would
right.
just,
Likes to go skateboarding, likes to play
right,
basketball, um, goes to the mall, things that would help people find your child, not tear them down. I
Right.
it's
but you're right though.
We
deflecting.
need
Regina,
to do better by our children. It's just that
you're right
simple,
too.
all of
You're
us.
you're right with it though, Regina, because I mean I think about Casey Anthony too, and I think about, the emotions were only about herself. It was never about that child. The only time she got emotional was when she was worried about what was going to happen to her. I
Yep.
so I do agree.
All
Yeah.
right, ladies, I hate to do this, but like my eyes are hurting so bad, like behind them, like up high. I don't know any other way to explain it.
No, you're
Um,
good. I'm
No.
sorry I was late.
no, no,
Well,
you're fine. I've loved doing the live and stuff. It's just that I don't know if I've been looking at my computer screen too long or what, but like my eyes just like I can't even like just looking at the screen. Maybe if I put sunglasses on.
It's
I
this,
don't know.
well,
it's this
They're in
weather
my
this
car.
week though. I've had a headache a couple different times this week, and I don't normally have headaches.
it's because all
Yeah,
the
well, this one.
stress that's around the world. Everybody has stress. Everybody has things, and then you get people that go to extremes and do these incredible things that you can't come back from. You can't
Hmm.
come back from ending someone's life. You
Right.
can't come back from abusing a child for years. You can't come back from that. You can't come back from neglecting. You have children to nurture, care, guide, teach, love, protect. People don't do that anymore. Or maybe they
Right.
do, like there's a lot of people that do that, but
I
there's so many of them that aren't doing that. And it's just, oh, it just upsets me that all these things are happening to all of these kids all across America, the world, actually.
It's terrible. It really is, and that's where we need to step in and do something about it. But look, I really hate to do this, but final thoughts, you guys. My eyes are
No,
hurting. I'm gonna have to go.
I was
Oh,
just about to say thank you, love you, respect you.
Final
Anything you need. Thank
thoughts
you to
are fine. I
everybody else.
just soon like
Good
I can't
night.
even hardly look at the screen no more, you guys.
just share a smile, save a life. Night,
Thank you,
Regina.
Kel, so much for being up here, you guys. And real quick before we go, I'm gonna do this real quick. I didn't mean she had to leave right now. I was just really, trying to get like because my eyes literally feel
I
like they're
know.
on fire.
I know.
Um, a palate cleanser so we don't walk away just thinking all of these horrible, nasty thoughts. How about a
Okay.
little karma? How about a little karma in the universe? Okay. Um,
It's a
watch
rainy
this.
afternoon in this Bothell, Washington suburb. A truck is making the rounds, delivering everything from light bulbs to kitty litter to the neighborhood's residents.
Oh, my eyes hurt so
But
bad.
he's not the only one with a regular schedule. Seconds after the truck turns the corner, a car stops in front of a home. Cutting across the lawn saves time, but the porch pirate is about to regret taking the shortcut. It looks like the package thief's lucky day, finding 3 mystery boxes. Until the wet grass delivers an instant dose of karma.
She had that coming.
Still trying to make her escape, he quickly finds out ankles aren't supposed to bend that way. Now stuck in the mud, her accomplice is forced to blow his cover to come to her rescue. After awkwardly carrying her to the car, he returns for his top priority, the stolen merch. With everything and everyone shoved into the car, the thieves make their getaway. Hopefully for them, one of the boxes includes an ice pack.
So how is that for a little bit of instant karma, right? Good old instant karma. Okay, you guys. Final thoughts for anybody? Or for you, Crystal? I'm gonna have to go. My eyes are still they're killing me, girlfriend.
No, I said my things. Thank you everyone for being here. Low, Paige, Cal, Midwest, Miss Brazzy, um, Walot, the mod, everyone that was here. Thank you. Regina, go get some rest. Good
Yes,
night.
I'm actually debating probably putting an ice pack on my eyes. They are literally they hurt so bad. I don't know if it's allergies or what, or if I've just been staring at the screen too long because we've been here for 3 hours and 15 minutes almost. But I have to go do something about it. Um, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. It was amazing having Kill on panel. Paige, thank you for calling in. Unknown caller, thank you. Special shout out to our mods, Midwest, Kill, Paige, Low 12. I think I already said that. I said it twice. Um, Miss Brazzy, Sammy G. I know you're probably resting because you got work tonight. Um, we missed you. We missed you. We wish you would have been here, and we hope you're getting some rest before you got to work tonight. And shout out to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Anything else, Crystal? No. And with that said, I'll say it because she didn't share a smile and save a life, you guys. Kindness is free. Um, it's so it's so easy to share kindness, and it costs and requires so much energy to focus on hate. Um, lock your doors and windows, stay vigilant, and take care of one another. And all of you, blessings and good night.